You made it to Wednesday. It's right. It's Wednesday. I think I got my days correct.
It's Wednesday. It's Wednesday.
You're over. Chances are you're watching the recorded version of this. You're past the midway point. You're almost there to another Friday, folks. Sammy Betesh, my boy, Philly's own, the city of brotherly love's own Sammy Betesh. Are you so close with your cousin who's from there? The one that
crazy cousin Jack.
I have a special affinity for it.
You know Jack, crazy Jack. You definitely know Cy. He's still awesome. He's still doing it. He still pumps up all of this. He was a big part of Samboni becoming who he became in the end. I mean, Jack has pushed me to these limits always. And Danielle, you know Danielle as well. You know and
Danielle. That's what I was thinking of actually.
Brother and sister, Danielle and Jack. But you know both. But yes. Absolutely, Cyrus. We are tight with all of them. You know, all of the inner circle that has been around for 25 years here. All of them. I hold on to everybody, Cyrus. I am painfully loyal, I would call it, in my life.
Well, your loyalty is legitimate because I don't think you're staying loyal to people who screw you over. But fortunately, they're not doing that to you. You've got an amazing circle, amazing social circle. Your network is elite, and I'm flattered and honored to be a part of that, brother. You're with me today, ESPN Radio's own Sammy Betesh, because Philly is on the radar. They're back on the map in terms of relevance. Title contention. We're going to talk Warriors, obviously. I don't have taps.
Philly just got one over. I mean, look, Philly got one over on the Bay Area. Let's be clear. I mean, look, the Eagles took out Brock in an NFC Championship game. There's that recently, obviously. When it comes to basketball, it's not often that Philly and Golden State are running into one another. But on this one, the last chip that was out there was LeBron. Philly gets over on that. And it's clear, you know, the last time I think the Giants beat the Phillies in the last NLCS that mattered for the two of them that they were in. By the way, an amazing, I was going over it the other day, that pitching staff that the Giants took out, it was Halladay, Cliff Lee, Oswalt, and Cole Hamels.
And Brian Wilson, that pitch to Ryan Howard will always be in my mind. Like that finishing pitch. Anyways, it's
but as far as Philly and the Bay Area, there is a nice little history there. But when it comes to basketball, there's not a ton, right? It doesn't happen. And yet in this, we can say, Philly kind of for now, for the offseason, Philly got the upper hand. Sure.
And Philly also has Bob Myers. So there now is like almost a rivalry of sorts. And Bob's winning. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about I'm going to bring up one particular thing with the Philadelphia 76ers that makes me skeptical of them being a title contender. I've queued you up for this, Sammy. You know where I'm going to go with this? Their defense. Do they have the defense? Their offense is elite, but people covering the NBA, it's so easy to forget about half the game, which is defense, and which analytics does not properly cover, right? So it's hard for people who don't observe with the eye all the time to give you proper analysis for defense.
It's really more than half, and when it comes to playoffs, that's a humongous part of it. And when you're looking at part of the thumbnail today, part of the theme, but
we can if you want.
That defensive stalwart. And really, I know you don't love Kerr in many fashions, but Kerr obviously has that mentality as well. When it comes to defense, that's what he was known for, really. Yeah. Because and yet, even with Ben, couldn't get to an Eastern Conference final. Yes, Jimmy played good defense, and Embiid at his height. Embiid, and I don't mean height as far as how tall he is, 7 feet. I'm talking about at the height of his career, the prime of his career, and we can argue where he is within that. But yes, Embiid could be defensive, and he could be somebody to really be reckoned with defensively, but no longer. He simply doesn't have the stamina for that anymore. And where do you stand now, Cyrus? Where's LeBron defensively to you?
Exactly.
Because there were parts of his career that he was, and obviously we know one of the greatest plays he ever made was a defensive play against the Warriors, but where is LeBron defensively to you? Because that could be part of this, and I haven't, of course, brought up Jaylen Brown yet, but I wanted to ask you about LeBron. Where do you stand on that?
We'll talk about all of that. People in the chat are saying they can't hear you well, and I agree. Can you turn your mic volume up? Do you have a setting there?
Yeah.
Okay, crank that up a little bit.
Yep.
I wasn't sure if it was on my end, but now that I'm seeing it from the audience, that confirms it.
Let's go.
Just a little more juice there on your side. Yeah, we'll talk about that. Does Philly have enough to win a championship? We're a Warriors program. When the Warriors are waving a white flag on competitiveness, you gotta branch out a little bit to keep your show interesting. So we're going to cover the gamut. We're talking talking all NBA. Yeah, Draymond
Hopefully
Green
I'm better now.
back.
Hopefully you can hear me a little better. I put some of this.
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Okay.
Yes,
done.
it's already improved.
There you go.
And much better, actually. Yes, thank you. So we're going to talk about, again, your team, Philly, my team, the Warriors, the NBA as a whole. We're in the official depths of the offseason heat. This ain't the hot stove part of the NBA. This is just the hot. This is just the disgusting, sweaty, like nothing going on. It's just, half the players are in Cancun right now or wherever they are. So we're trying to keep things interesting. Philly is interesting. The Warriors, God damn it. They're making me work. We're powered by Sunrun. We're powered by FanDuel. Got some good lines to bring up to you in just a second. And this program with Sammy Betesh joining us today, it's called The Golden Days. Hey now. Let's go. Sammy Betesh. People can follow you on Twitter at Sammy Betesh.
Yes.
Although I want to make it very clear.
Trade with my cousin, by the way, Cyrus. I have a cousin who's also named Sam Betesh.
Crank it up a little more. Crank yourself up just a smidge more. Go ahead.
We made a trade actually on this. We made a trade. He was at Sammy Betesh, and I was at Sam Betesh, and we actually traded at one point. And I decided to go back to Sammy. So yes, and I was known, Cyrus. You knew me right at the time I transitioned from being Sam to Sammy. So there you go. So
I just missed you. So you started at KBR a year or two before I did. I just missed by I think days. Sam Betesh with the ponytail.
Oh yeah,
I did not ever get to see that, but I heard stories, a lot of stories.
It was
UC Santa Cruz's own Sammy Betesh, and I want to also add this: you folks out there, you're not allowed to call him Sammy. Only his close friends can.
You got to be grandfathered in. Yep,
Sam Betesh.
Yes. So
even though on Twitter
Sam.
it's at Sammy Betesh. Now, if you're on Threads, it's back to Sam.
There you go. Exactly. The IG's got me at Sam Betesh, and that's where it is. So we're good there.
And Thread side note, by the way, is blowing up. When we talk about the NBA, Draymond Green is active on there. Kevin Durant has bailed Twitter. He's now on Threads. NBA Twitter is migrating. That migration is in process right now, at least in terms of the players. The NBA Twitter, from the fan perspective, I think it's still somewhat healthy, a bit toxic, but anyway, people can.
But it really is. Look, let me tell you something. You caught me. You found me today on Threads as well, and you believe in it. The bottom line is, if you're doing it, if you're out there on it, then it must be real. So we'll go with Threads as well. And IG, everyone's really on IG anyway, right? That's really what it is. Everyone's just going to sleep watching reels on IG or TikTok, of course. And I know you've been a star there also.
No, I'm not. You're a star. I am such a novice on TikTok. That's where my age shows a little bit.
A little bit.
And look, TikTok's huge. I'm not saying it's like it's irrelevant. Far from it. This is me being antiquated a little bit here. Are you active on TikTok?
Okay. So reality is this: editing through TikTok to get things on IG is actually most of what I do. But when I'm there, putting everything through that scenario and getting the edit to where I need it to be, then I realize, you know what, I might as well just post it here and see what happens. So I don't know that you want to call that active or not, but I use the platform. I use it mostly as an edit software. But once it's there and done, I might as well hit post, right? Like, well, I mean, at that point, I've done the work.
Of course.
I've got right. So that's it. So I would say even I might convert you that way. I would suggest there are times, and you've got people, in the back doing a lot for you, but you would be great there. Even just with 2 thumbs, you can do a lot on TikTok. It's designed for that, and I think you'd be great at it.
Thank you, brother. And we will be active on TikTok. The moment we hit our quota with Sunrun, we start there.
Great.
One of our 2 title sponsors. And Sam, I'm going to include you in the loop on what the grand plan is for this program once we hit our quota, because dude, if you're a Warriors fan, excuse me, and you love this show and you love the fact that we're the antithesis of mainstream media covering the Warriors, like we actually give you honest takes, accurate takes. That's not what most of these other companies care about. They just want to make you feel good. I don't care about making you feel good. I just want you to know the truth. I want to make you think a little bit here in the process. We're not a safe space program. This ain't no echo chamber type scene. We're keeping it real, folks. And again, on that vein, Sam, when the show's done, I'm going to tell you what the plan is for this show, and you're going to laugh.
Excited.
I've only told one other person.
I'm excited. Okay.
But besides this grand master plan that I'm going to keep mysterious, largely because I don't want other people copying this, right? The world is full of copycats. And if you're ahead of the curve, that's one thing you notice right away. Oh, shit, like 10 other people are doing what I'm doing. So I'm not going to reveal that. But another thing we want to do with Sunrun, a company that if you're a homeowner or if you know someone that owns a home that does not have solar on it, you can also get a $500 promotional bonus right now by putting their information in. That includes your parents. Sam, I don't know if you're aware of this stat. Nearly 50%, 49% of Americans live at home with their parents right now.
Get out of here. Say that again.
That's what the housing crisis has led to. So now the thing is, if you're living with your parents and there's no solar above there, put their information in. Yep. You still get $500. They also still get $500. That means the promo becomes a $1,000 promo, not just a $500 promo, and for no drawbacks. No upfront costs. You're not spending money on a thing. All that happens is your monthly electricity costs, which are probably sky high, which you're probably getting ripped off for, goes down because it turns into your solar bill, and that's a fraction in nearly every situation of what you're spending now. It's an unbelievable deal. Click that QR code right there. Click the link down below. Sam, you're in the process of
dude. I've talked to your guy at Sunrun. They are coming to the house to check things out. I actually have panels from a previous company sitting on my roof. Now, they, unfortunately, didn't get it done the right way. I know Sunrun is going to make it happen the right way, which is outstanding. We are going to do that. And remember this, Cyrus, not only do I believe in not paying your electric bill because now your solar is simply going to take care of that and wipe it right out through the solar. How about this? How about double down on the whole thing? Get yourself an electric car and put a gas station in your driveway for free.
That's
Think
a crazy
about how
premise.
Convenient that is. So
are you yourself a favor.
Dude, I'm electric, dude. I'm electric. Yeah. I have two. How about this? 2 electric cars. And I understand that means that I got to stop halfway if I'm driving from LA to visit you in San Francisco. Fine. How often is that happening? We're talking once a year. Oh, how are you going to drive to Vegas? How are you going to drive? Who's driving back and forth to Vegas constantly? Who are these people?
Vegas has chargers, by the way, a ton of chargers.
And by the way, I don't want to stop at the outlets anyway or get something to eat. And it takes 15 minutes to really charge yourself. There's how about this? There is zero downside to an electric car. Zero. And an electric and a house that is solar powered. Trust me, it's the ultimate cheat code. There is nothing political about this. This is about convenience, everybody.
Exactly.
This is a conversation about convenience.
Exactly. It's about saving money. And and in terms of the show, we reach a quota. We're going to hire a TikTok producer. That's what we're going to do. And we're this close to doing so. Yeah, I'm just going to have someone else manage that shit, Sam.
Look, it is brilliant, Cyrus. It's going to be smart for many reasons. Number one, the edits. Someone is going to be better than you at it eventually. Yes,
probably.
Quicker. Yes. Someone will be faster, and someone's going to know. Hey, by the way, this matters right now. Let's make sure we hit this and do this. There are a lot of smart people out there, and you would be such a star on TikTok, Cyrus. The things that you say, the way you get people riled up, it is. Because it really is about that. It's about you saying something and somebody saying, what? And
so shock factor is a big on
Of course, TikTok. That's a part of it. I mean, you want to say something that everyone goes, wow, I believe in that. I never thought of that. Or F this guy. What the hell is he talking about? You've got both possibilities there. We know that side. You can hit it from both angles.
I love it. And it'll be a huge bonus if that TikTok producer has a personality, so they could be a part of the show as well. But that's what the show's aiming for. But for yourself, Sunrun, you're saving money, no upfront costs, no credit checks, no dings on your credit if you apply. Again, fine and negative. This is an unbelievable deal. It's not going to last forever, especially the $500 promotion that they're offering right now for all new partners. Become a Sunrun powered golden dazer. Click that link right there. Today's episode also brought to you by FanDuel. Sam, my puppy, the doors are closed because it's hot as shit right now. I'm gonna have to get up in just 1 second and let the dog out. But I want to read you some lines, and then I'm gonna go run and let him out. It'll take me 20 seconds. Ready. So I'm gonna give you the show for 1 second. But FanDuel has all the over-unders right now, and that's where what
do we got? Yeah, what are we looking at? Which ones do we got?
Well, Philly, last time you were on the show last week,
47.5. It had to change, right? 47.5, I think it was that, right?
It was. Yes, okay, great memory. I'm a little surprised that the needle only moved by one game.
So are we saying right now LeBron's worth a game? Okay, That's a whole podcast right there.
Well, take it away. It's 48.5. So I'm going to guess you're going to say over is a safe bet. Take it away while I let the pup out real fast.
No problem. Okay, so here's why. 48.5 is a great bet still to make. I loved it at 47.5. I still think the over is easy. You can't tell me this Sixers team right now doesn't look like a 50-win team. 5-0. Think about it. That's not legendary. That's not entering the phase of what the Warriors did a few years ago in beating the Bulls' all-time record in the regular season. 50 wins. 50 for this team. Think about what the Celtics did last season. They were missing Tatum for as much as they did. They got over 50 wins. This team with Jaylen Brown before the LeBron news. You asked me this question the day before the Sixers had LeBron.
Right.
And I said easy. Right. I said 50. You said 47.5, and I was saying over. You could have said 49.5 then, and I still would have liked it. I think 5-0 is not. It's just not. It's not crazy. It doesn't have the same peak that it used to either. Cyrus, plenty of teams win 50 games and don't do that much during the. Most teams that even get to 50, okay, they're not winning the championship.
Lakers and Houston last year, 2 examples.
Exactly. You could be a 50-win team and be essentially run-of-the-mill, an afterthought when the season's said and done. So 50 wins for this Sixers team. You'd have to admit, if they don't hit 50 wins, it really was a disaster.
Yes.
This offseason was a disaster if Bob Myers doesn't get 50 wins for what he just did. That's going to happen.
And Philly's championship odds, they now have the 4th highest odds. The OKC is the favorite this coming season, plus 230. San Antonio's plus 270. The Knicks plus 900. Talk about a slight on the Knicks. You were bringing practically the same.
By the way, look at that jump. 290 to 900. Is that what you just said, right?
Yeah. It's disrespectful. And again, this is all said based on fan sentiment, right?
Of course.
Not necessarily an objective analysis of these teams. Philly has the 4th highest odds now at plus 1,100. What surprises me, Sam, is not who the top 4 are. It's the fact that the Celtics are 5th at plus 1,400. Why did the Celtics keep getting all these favorable odds, given they just lost Jaylen Brown? And I'm not that impressed with that team. What am I missing here with Boston?
No. Jaylen Brown was a key to it. What he did last season also. And what you're going to take that? I mean, is the Game 7 loss that big of a swing, whether they had beaten the Sixers or not in that? I don't think so. This is a surprising one to me, Boston. I also think Indiana needs to be in that mix, don't they? Isn't Indiana back to where they were? I mean, if Halliburton is back, I know he's coming off the injury and we got to wait to see it. But Indiana, considering what they had done 2 seasons ago, they have to be back in this mix when you're talking about the Eastern Conference.
Do you want to hear what the odds are for Indy and how crazy, how batshit crazy just public perception is? The Indiana Pacers have the same odds as the Golden State Warriors to win the championship this coming season, plus 5,000.
Does that say more about the Warriors or the Pacers? That's awful. That right there, I would tell you right now, make that bet.
Yes.
I mean, on Pacers, not Warriors. That's actually something you could watch during the season. Like Warriors is going to be like, okay, are they going to make the playoffs? Like you're going to be pissed because that might be done at the plan. You got to tear that up. That sucks. The Pacers are going to be vying for a top 4 seed.
Right.
The Pacers are going to be a top 4 seed this season in the East. I'm sorry, you have to think about the teams that are not going to be involved, right? I mean, Milwaukee's pretty much now out of it. I mean, there's so many teams and I understand Miami. You may want to believe in Miami, but Miami needs more than Giannis. They were in the LeBron thing. That would have been a different story. I don't even necessarily think Philly's going to win the East. I already told you, if they get to the Eastern Conference Final, then LeBron has done more than they could do before him. And since Iverson and Larry Brown. Remember, I said this before they got LeBron. I said the reason this makes sense for LeBron is the bar is not that high in Philadelphia. So I don't know that they're the favorite, but the Indiana thing, that's the most insulting thing we're going to say all show. And I know you like to insult plenty, but that is disrespectful, Cyrus.
It is. It is. And again, they're setting these odds not because of what's on paper. It's because of what people feel about these teams. And Indiana is just blatantly disrespected. And part of the reason why the Warriors have those odds too is because fans just think of Stephen Curry and go, oh, champion, 4-time champion. They've got to have a chance, right? Dude, he's turning 39 this year. Who knows? I mean, weirder shit has happened, but that would be weird and bizarre. Sam, you sent me this. And by the way, Sam, I'm going to introduce you at the end of the show to our closer.
I cannot wait.
If you don't mind,
I'm so excited. Bring in Frankie Rodriguez. I'm very excited. Yeah, let's go.
Chardol, a.k.a. Apex Sports Predator, or I'm sorry, Apex Sports Network is his YouTube channel. Chardol, you'll get the link. Don't worry. Stick around. I'd love to introduce you to Sam and vice versa. Shardul Gupta, our closer for Golden Days, and pridefully so. But really quickly, want to touch on the Warriors because the Draymond Green drama is over. He's coming back for the exact same deal that he would have signed.
I think it's like is there like a $25,000 difference? I think it's like just under.
It might be
I think the option was like at 28, and now he's coming back at like 27,750.
Well, it was 27 something either way, but you're right. Yes. It may be like a smidge, and the Warriors convinced him to not include a no trade kicker, which he was entitled to. And I don't know why he turned, like, if you're Draymond Green, why do you turn that down unless there's some sort of wink thing down the road? But he does not have a no trade clause, so the Warriors could trade him this season. I think it's a fat chance in hell they're going to do so. I mean, why go through all this and keep him on your team if your intent is to trade him at some point? He's not going anywhere. Yes, Sam.
Although, think about it from Draymond's perspective, Cyrus. Draymond, if he's here, if this season looks like play-in again, so let's just say that the ceiling is looking like play-in, and now he could see himself going to Miami, Philly, OKC, the Lakers. Think about the teams that are going to be in the mix to think that Detroit. Draymond could be a piece, because to a team that is under the top half defensively, and we know that in the playoffs it's going to reach another level, you could convince yourself that Draymond is a piece. You could convince yourself that Draymond is the piece if you need a kick in the pants defensively. In fact, you already said it. The Sixers are going to be missing something defensively to get all the way. How funny would it be in the end if LeBron and Draymond do end up together on the Sixers through a Bob Myers trade later this season? I mean, that would be incredible if that comes together.
It would be unreal. And side note, to me, Philly, the one thing they're missing is a Draymond Green. Why don't we get into that right now? I mean, look, what are we going to talk about the Warriors? Yeah, there's one AI clip I'm going to play in just a minute because it is hilarious. I'm not pro AI, but there are exceptions to everything in this world, and that includes this clip I'm going to play for you in just a second. But you sent me this story by The Athletic.
Yes.
That included this graphic, which is a great little graphic, even though it looks like a fifth grader.
I can't believe it. You're right. I was expecting a little more. I was New York Times and Athletic. I was hoping for a little bit more here, but I will say the information is still tremendous, and New York Times and Athletic always gives you tremendous information. So I'll take it for that. It is
absolutely. And we're going to show this to the.
It's really just
the audience
it's like the
right
tiers
now
of the Eastern Conference, which we were just going through, and I think it's fascinating, Cyrus. And I don't know that they have it so wrong. I mean, you know what I think about Indiana, so maybe I could see Indiana in a tier 1 potentially, but I don't hate this. And I love,
I don't either.
People are going to die on a hill for which tier you're in, but if you took the tiers out of it and you just went through the ranking, if you chose it as a power ranking and just went through it, what jumps out to you here? I still think Miami's fascinating to me. I don't think I know enough really deep into their roster to say that Miami is woefully off here. Detroit's a little unproven. We all thought that they were going to beat Cleveland last season in the playoffs the way that went. But this is really, it's a good Eastern Conference to look at. All of a sudden, the Eastern Conference is interesting, right? I mean, this is really fascinating.
For the first time since you and I were like going to raves.
Yes.
I mean, that's how... Yes. However long it's been. I mean, that's the time frame since the Eastern Conference was last this interesting and relevant. It has depth. It's and I'm grateful for that, man, because it's been way too long.
Think about the 2 stars, Cyrus. Just think about 2 superstars that went that are now in the East. I mean, for LeBron to go back to the East, I mean, that's a big deal to have Halliburton back, considering what he was, and now that Jalen Brunson can be talked about in that vein. Now that you're talking about superstars, and of course, throw LeBron's name, and no matter where you think he stacks amongst the top 25, superstar will always follow him. So you now have name cachet in the Eastern Conference. And the fact that you didn't lose Giannis from the East is also great, right? Giannis leaves Milwaukee, but stays in the Eastern Conference with Miami. That's great news. This is really interesting. I think the East, considering the East is a champion, which nobody thought, right? I mean, even as the finals started, nobody thought Knicks. The Knicks are coming into the season as champions, and we just didn't expect that at all. So, and I would actually argue the most surprising part of this is the Knicks on top. I could easily see a power rankings of the Eastern Conference without the Knicks on top. I could. I still don't believe. I don't necessarily believe in the Knicks just throwing them out there like, oh, the Knicks are going to be right back there in the finals. Who thinks that? Who thinks that?
I'm sure a lot of people, but I hear what you're saying too. On paper, they have blemishes just like every other team in the Eastern Conference. The Jalen Brunson factor, I think, is why a lot of people do believe they're going to make another run. You could be right. You could be right in this. I mean, maybe Philly just blows them out of the water. Maybe
I don't even think so. I think, look, I know you don't believe in Boston all the way, but I certainly think Boston's going to make.
I don't.
Boston doesn't often. I think if you're looking for disrespect on this one, I think Boston, I could see Boston playing a bigger role than this tier has them at right now.
Can you name 3 players on Boston's team right now?
3 players on the Celtics right now? Jesus.
Yes, nice
yeah,
thought.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Okay, so obviously we've got Tatum.
Yes.
The Celtics right now, wow.
This is why I think this chart is accurate. And this is why I'm shocked at the odds makers and certain people thinking Boston is better than they are. They just gave
wait. Obviously, Paul George. Wait, I have to say Paul George. Okay, let's at least give me that. Okay, yeah, we know that. All right, so we know Paul George. All right, so give me that. All right, so Tatum and Paul George. All right, great.
They've got that Alex Hermanos guy. I'm sorry, I don't think that's his last name.
No, it's bad. It's bad. It's
the guy they drafted last year.
You're right.
They've got Peyton Pritchard, who's really good. They've got Derek White. But the point
Derek White. I knew Derek White. I just read a story today about it. Went back to the trade when Garnett was traded to the trade that brought Garnett to the Nets, the one that like made this Celtics championship run and sunk the Nets with Mikhail Provorov.
Yes,
and that was so good to read all of that. And Derek White is like in the history of like what came out of all that. So I did know Derek White as well. So I'm gonna go with that. Tatum, White, and Paul George. There you go. Jesus.
But again, that I think is why Boston. This is more accurate in terms of like people are gonna swear by the coaching. I would be surprised if they're like top 4. I would be borderline.
You may be right here. You really might be right here. This is interesting. I just love it. The fact that there are storylines though across the Eastern Conference that there were not. This is so good. It really is great. And I'm sick of seeing Philly close and not getting there. And I think until I see them get out of the second round, Cyrus, I love the LeBron thing. I love the Jaylen Brown thing. I love Bob Myers. All of it feels right. But I remember the enthusiasm I had for Doc Rivers, for Embiid, Simmons, Tobias Harris, Jimmy Butler. Like I have had myself convinced many times when it comes to Philly. And even some of those teams I just mentioned were very good defensively. And yet these teams found a way to lose to Atlanta in the second round. I mean, there are some real embarrassments here. I don't understand. And could I see that happening again? I could. I definitely could. I could see the Pistons could. I could see a world in which the Pistons beat them in the second round.
Real quick, I want to talk about Detroit because I do think they're the team that's underrated here. But for the podcast audience who cannot visualize the screen, I want to read it off in order.
Yeah, let's go. Go for it. Yes,
I want to enunciate what this graphic entails because it's just as good, I think, when you hear it out loud. So the Athletic, and I don't know who the writer is who made this graph, but they have 6 tiers, and I'll just go in order because Sam, I think you're right. If you just read this literally without the tiers and just go in order as a 1 through 15 ranking, it's just as good. Number 1, New York Knicks. Number 2, Philadelphia 76ers. That's tier 1, the contenders. Tier 2 is one notch below. Indiana 3, Detroit 4, Cleveland 5. Tier 3 is one move away. That's Miami, who's 6, Toronto, who's 7. Kawhi Leonard, by the way, still not official that he's with the Raptors, but we could talk about that in just a second. Tier 4, this team is dangerous. Boston is 8th, Atlanta 9th, Orlando 10th. Orlando, another team that might be underrated here. Tier 5 might be dangerous. The Washington Wizards, that's kind of crazy. The Charlotte Hornets. The Chicago Bulls with Caleb Wilson, who is a gem. And last but not least, tier 6, teams 14 and 15, the Milwaukee Bucks, Milwaukee, and the Brooklyn Nets. Brooklyn appropriately dead last. That is just a joke of a franchise. So those are the top. Those are the 1 through 15 rankings that the Athletic released, which I think is far more accurate than what the odds makers at FanDuel are listing. And again, this is not a FanDuel slight. This is them.
No, this is what people believe. This is how the money's coming in. Yeah, absolutely, of course,
exactly. Because a lot of people don't get that. That's how these lines are set. So I think 2 teams here that are underrated. One is Detroit, and I bring up Detroit because Kate Cunningham is still super young. That team, I think ultimately their demise was Jalen Duren at 22 years of age, not being able to replicate his regular season success and translate that to the postseason, largely because the matchups became very difficult for him. The pressure was too much for him. And I do have high hopes for him. A kid who's 22 years old, doing what he did, making third-team All-NBA. I'm borderline shocked Detroit has not paid him the money yet, but he's going to come back. Detroit has Cade Cunningham. They added John Collins, Duncan Robinson, whatever. I love the Isaiah Joe edition, which they got for practically nothing. Ausar Thompson is coming back. Kevin Huerter is a good shooter. Paul Reed is now the backup center, replacing Isaiah Stewart, Big Stu. Let me see if there's anyone else here worth mentioning on this team. And it's going to be Jalen Duren. They did lose Tobias Harris. I wish they were more aggressive. They have too much talent to be a team that's acting complacently like they're good enough. But I still think Detroit is going to make noise. That's just me. Do you think I'm
Detroit,
crazy, Sam,
Detroit, look, I'll say it all. Detroit, think about how different we think about Detroit if they win that game 7. Obviously, it's a game that's at home, so everyone kind of just thought, okay, it's going to be theirs, right? And obviously, Cleveland and Donovan Mitchell, that was a tremendous run for Cleveland. We saw what happened against the Knicks, and nobody would, maybe, do we think that Detroit would have beat the Knicks? Now that we've seen the Knicks win it all, we don't think that. Now, going into it, we thought, yes. A lot of people had that as the route. A lot of people who were just going through it like a bracket for a tournament. A lot of people had Detroit beating the Knicks. That was actually a very popular choice last season, was to have Detroit going all the way to the finals. The most shocking thing that happened was that game 7 went to Cleveland. That threw a lot of people off. People didn't have that. Detroit had such a special regular season that people thought it was going to translate, and it was translating that way. The most surprising game before the finals, the most surprising outcome of a game was that game 7 between the Cavs and the Pistons was the surprising one. When you look at what the line was going to the game, when you look at the money was in regards to that, in regards to Vegas, that was the most stunning upset right there. Yeah. So how different do we feel about Detroit if they win that game? Big if. I hate it. The two biggest letters in sports are I and F, but that's what it comes down to. So I'm with you. I'm as confident as I was last season about Detroit. They were very quiet. They're not going to be as quiet this season, right? People are going to know it going into the season, but I like Detroit as well. I still think the East is wide open. If we can just calm ourselves about what LeBron means. I said it last week. LeBron was not holding up, as Adam Silver said, what we're going to do with this schedule because the bigger names had moved ahead of LeBron. LeBron, for the first time in his career, without question, is not the best player on his team. Without question. Last year, you could say there was a question. I understand now we're saying, of course, Luka's the best player, but there was a question to it, and LeBron is the one who had to carry them to a first-round victory in the playoffs, right? Yeah. So it is, LeBron had at least a path to say he was the best player on when he left the Lakers. But now, this Philly team, you could really make the argument that he's the third best player. Really. It doesn't take it, right? Who's won an MVP more recently, Embiid or LeBron? And it's Embiid. Yeah. And Jaylen Brown.
Stay healthy. That's always been his issue.
That's fine. So
I forgot to mention, by the way, Detroit has Ron Holland, who is a spectacular defender. I guess I look at teams who are chock full of young players who have not reached their potential yet. And when I look at a team with a roster full of players like that, their ceiling hasn't been tapped, right? And Detroit has, like Cade Cunningham, for example, he's only going to get better. Like he's going to get better and better and better. And he led his team one win away from reaching the Eastern Conference Finals. Detroit, all I'm saying is don't sleep on them. Also, the Thompson twins, Ausar Thompson and Amen Thompson, like their ceiling nowhere near reached. Like those two are still raw as F, and they're just going to get better year after year. So Detroit's one team I sleep on, or that I think is underrated in that overall list and discussions. Yes. Orlando's another one. Orlando's a weird ass team who has size, who has physicality, who I don't really know if they have holes, but they're not consistent. Like you never know which version is going to show up. They gave the Pistons hell in the first round of the playoffs this past season, and they added a potentially solid coach. And that's Sean Devaney, I think that's his name, that they got from San Antonio. So they're another team that's underrated.
So let me ask you this, Cyrus. Let's go with the sexy teams right now. You said that Philly's going to have an issue defensively, and I still think that'll be something they have to solve.
Is it time to get into that now, or
I want to ask you this. Okay. Now that we looked at the East, I want to look at the sexy names in the East to ask you which of these three you think will end up on top. Now you can talk about it for the regular season or the playoffs. Take it wherever you want, but we're talking Knicks, Sixers. And I'm going to say Miami, and I'm going to throw Indiana because we believe in that. So I'm going to take Detroit and Cleveland out of it because Miami with Giannis, I think, is fascinating. So Knicks, Sixers, Pacers, Miami. Who finishes? Who's got a better chance there? Knicks, Sixers, Pacers, Miami. What does it look like right now to you? A lot of people are saying Philly. Everyone loves Philly right now. Everyone loves it right now. Philly, yes, Philly has won the offseason. I've seen Philadelphia. I've seen the Eagles win the offseason and go nowhere before. I mean, this happens a lot. Everyone's talking about the Rams won the offseason. Will they win the Super Bowl? I get it. But right now in the East, Knicks, Sixers, Pacers, Giannis, Miami Heat. Where do we see it?
In terms of like what order?
Which one of those, or just which one? Just pick one. One of those four. If you had to say, if you were going to bet your life on this team
and
representing
the four again,
the East,
it's the New York Knicks, the reigning world champions.
Right. The
and
Sixers.
What we've seen for I think 7 or 8 years in a row now is the difficulty in repeating as a champion, and the core variable for that is hunger, right? Like, do you want it as bad in year 2? And that's where you have to have so much talent to overcome human nature, which oftentimes creeps in here, right? It's you have a ring. You suddenly feel good. The moment you feel good, you're vulnerable.
Of course, and someone else is hungrier. Someone else feels ripped off last season, right? How many teams feel ripped off? We were this close last season, and now you've got that drive, you've got that hunger, and it's an FU to the team in front, which is obviously the Knicks. That's the team that got over on you. So I would just say amongst those four, which one has the hunger, really? Right? I mean, Giannis has a championship, so maybe you'd say hunger isn't there for him. The Knicks as a team just did it, so you got to ask yourself whether the leadership and the coaching is tough enough to get that going again. I think Mike Brown learned a lot with Kerr in Golden State, so clearly he's got that. He understands what it's like to win multiples, so maybe that could happen. Indiana, to me, feels like the hungry team, though. Don't they, Cyrus? Doesn't Indiana feel like if Halliburton doesn't get hurt in game 7, right? Like they're still banking on that.
They might win that very well.
Yes.
You're 100% correct. They were this close to being champions. I'm not forgetting that either, Sam. You're 100% correct. But again, there is that wild card of their best player is coming back from an Achilles tear. Like,
of course.
What are we going to see there? The good news is Tyrese Halliburton is not a guy who for most of his career has relied on athleticism to thrive. He's a playmaker. He's high IQ, elite shooter. So I don't know if the Achilles thing will derail him in terms of leading that team. But you're absolutely right, dude. I'm not sleeping on them. You're asking me top 4 Knicks.
I'm basically saying even just pick one. Like take one to be the best.
Well,
which one represents?
Again,
if I only gave you these 4, let's say we're at FanDuel and I said take everyone out, represent the East in the final. One of these 4: Knicks, Sixers, Pacers, Miami Heat.
So you put Miami over Detroit.
I'm only saying it right now. I'm saying let's make it a little sexy because I think Miami right now could still be a sexy pick. A lot of people have Giannis as the difference maker in so many ways, and we understand what Riley and Spoelstra do year after year, right? I mean, they obviously have that team always in contention here. The Giannis thing really, I mean, that is a big move. I'm not going to pretend that Giannis doesn't move the needle. So I'm just asking you, of those 4, if we just made it about those 4, who do you see represent? I mean, look, the year that Miami went to the final in 2020 with Jimmy, nobody saw that coming, right? I mean, it does happen, and Giannis is a big deal. So I would just say of those 4, what do we think?
At the moment, I'll do an elimination process here. I'll cross Miami off because at the moment, and I'm looking at the roster right now, I don't know how they score enough points. Their team is Giannis Antetokounmpo, Bam Adebayo, Andrew Wiggins, Nikola Jovic, Bobby Portis, Davion Mitchell, Tim Hardaway Jr. I'm seeing if there's anyone else that's like a big name, right? I mean, obviously they have a full roster,
sure, but no,
that is not enough offense for me to pick them. So I crossed them off, and I wish I had a John Madden style.
Yes, that'd be great. But so Miami's out. So now it's down to 3, right? So now
Miami's
down to
out.
Pacers, Knicks.
But I'm also going to cross Miami out and then put Detroit in their spot.
That's fine. Good. I like it.
I also don't want to rule out Cleveland if they sign Jonathan Kuminga.
Okay.
If they don't sign Kuminga, Cleveland is not going to do shit. If they sign Kuminga, I'm not ruling that team out either. I think they deserve to at least be in the conversation, but we don't know what's going to happen with JK yet. So I'm going to cross Miami off. I'm going to begrudgingly cross Indiana off just because it's the year layoff, the Achilles comeback.
Fair.
if I have to cross-eliminate teams, I'm going to eliminate them just because of rust and uncertainty. I'm going to begrudgingly cross Detroit off only because I still don't know if Cade Cunningham has enough help. But I'm very I'm not feeling good doing that. Before we narrow down the final two, the Knicks and the Sixers, is Toronto a team that we should not be sleeping on?
Does this change? If that news is official, do you think it changes this list? I know it'll change FanDuel, but does it change this list?
Maybe, because Kawhi Leonard is that good.
Well, he was that good there, right? I mean, he also was that good and that motivated there. I don't know if that translates. But
last year he was that good, though. Last year he had an unbelievable season. And here's the piece on Toronto that scares me about them. Scotty Barnes. That guy finally started to reach his potential this past season. Scotty Barnes is a guy who can play 1 through 5. You can play him anywhere. And I'm looking at the Raptors right now. It's Scotty Barnes, Brandon Ingram. It's
whatever. Okay. B.I.'s been okay.
He's okay. Yeah. Emmanuel Quickly is super streaky. He can be on fire. He could be shitty. RJ Barrett, he gives you size. Yeah. Grady Dick, beyond his name, not much going on there. Yeah, I don't think they have enough. All right,
that's tough. I mean, I would say Toronto. I mean, look, granted, the Toronto team that beat Golden State going into that season,
that was a different team.
Of course. What I mean is, I don't, but I don't think, but that team was not, I don't know that Toronto team was probably in a conversation with 3 other teams going into that season that could do it. So this is Knicks and Sixers. So if we're saying it comes down to that, if we're saying it comes down to Knicks and Sixers, and this year we know that was a sweep, different team, but what does that look like? What does that look like? If the Sixers can finally get to the Eastern Conference Final, do they get over another hump that they haven't gotten over since 2001?
I don't know. We'll find out, but I don't think Toronto's it. By the way, Sam, I want to introduce you to some of the ignorance that permeates, I'm guessing, all fan bases, but in Dub Nation, it's a loud, toxic group. We have Jimson Yang, who, and again, certain people in Dub Nation, they just hate Kuminga. They just hate him with a passion because he had the audacity to actually speak out against his head coach, who was derailing his career and derailing the team in the process. It's not like Kerr's decision to DNP Kuminga all the time paid off.
No,
I mean, it's not like they were winning because of it. That's the part that drives me crazy for all these Kuminga haters. It's okay, it's one thing if benching him led to success. It did not. They got worse because of it.
What hurts your argument? You're right. What hurts your argument is Atlanta, right? The idea that Atlanta decides that he's not worth it is what hurts the argument a little bit, right?
Well, I thought he played well. Sam, I'm going to push back on that too, because why are we giving weight to Atlanta's front office?
Okay, fair.
Why are we pretending that Atlanta's front office, led by Steve Kerr's buddy, is somehow the arbiter of whether or not a player is good or not? Atlanta, to me, is going to take a step back, I think. That was a colossal mistake. I'm not going to forget that the Knicks lost 3 postseason games. 2 of those were to the Hawks.
Yes.
With Kuminga being the best player in those games on both sides of the court, right? People will bring up CJ McCollum as having these unbelievable offensive performances. Kuminga was right behind him offensively, and he was elite defensively, shutting down often a much bigger Karl Anthony Towns. And people like Jimson Yang, who bring up 12 points per game, look at the minutes. These 12 points per game were based on 20 minutes per game. When Kuminga plays 30 minutes a game, which is what I've always advocated for this kid, he averages over 21 points a game. He averages over 6 rebounds per game. He shoots over 41% from deep. All he needs are minutes. And
why did he turn down the Lakers, Cyrus? I'm sure that would have been the most interesting destination.
Money.
But wasn't it 2 for 20? Wasn't it 2
wants
for
2
20?
for 40. If you want Kuminga, you got to double that value is what it comes down to. Kuminga wants cash. There are a couple teams that I think will give it to him. The Bucks. I don't know what the Kings are doing. I have no idea if they're in the mix. I feel like that would be the perfect fit for him. But the point is, man, I don't know why you criticize this guy when he's never had the opportunity. We're basing the criticism entirely on what one head coach and now a second front office whose buddies who came from that same system, their judgment. And I don't trust their judgment. I don't know. Sam, am I making sense? Do I sound
You're
crazy
making a lot of sense. I'm not going to put everything on Atlanta. I'm only going to say that now you've got 2 organizations ultimately that are not ponying up for this guy. Now that does start to say something. 2 organizations that don't pony up for somebody is enough to say, because change of scenery. A lot of people say change of scenery. Change of scenery to Atlanta did not make a big difference to Atlanta to make a commitment. I'm with you on the idea that Kuminga was better with the increased time, right? He was better with the increased role. Certainly, if you compare what happened in Atlanta to what was in Golden State, the problem is, why does Atlanta move off that? I don't understand that. I don't necessarily understand that.
I don't understand it either, but Sam, as someone who's covering the NBA predominantly in my career, I've lost faith in most of these front offices. I no longer come to conclusions based on what teams decide, right? Because nepotism is so rampant in most of these front offices. Case in point, we look at the Atlanta Hawks, right, who hired a former assistant in the Warriors as their new front office guy. One of their big moves this offseason was hiring Tim Bontemps, a baseball guy at ESPN, as one of their front office execs.
You're right.
Their former head of scouting was Grant Liffman, whose career was acting in soap operas in LA. And that career dried up. He was roommates with Landry Fields, former NBA player, who was the Atlanta Hawks GM. They're buddies from college. Landry hires him as the head of scouting. And this is why I have zero faith in front offices. I'd rather just trust my own eyes and my own observation skills. And yeah, but look, it's not a good look to have two teams go pass. I'm not doubting that. But I'm not going to sit here and judge Kuminga as a player either, because those two teams said, no, we're good. I think the Atlanta Hawks are being poorly run. I think Quinn Snyder is making a colossal mistake, doubling down by not wanting Kuminga, the guy who single-handedly won you 2 postseason games against the Knicks. Why would you move on from that? Like, why would you move on from your best player in the postseason? That's the part I don't get. Does that make sense to you, Sam?
So this is, you're making a lot of sense. And what I like is, and we will revisit this, when Kuminga does land, I want to see what that does to win totals and to rankings here.
I think fascinated.
That's going to be a really good one. I loved the idea of him coming to LA. There was a lot of chatter here by me.
He still might.
I know it still could happen, especially, I mean, as the other offers dry up. And I heard from a good friend of mine, a good friend of ours, actually, that his agent is also interesting here. Kuminga's agent has made this difficult as well, right? There's a lot of people that don't necessarily trust what his agent is saying, and his agent has put him in a spot where he thinks he's worth a lot more money potentially.
Well, I know his agent
starting to sour on that.
Aaron's my boy, and this is one of many reasons why I'm very bitter about this whole thing, because Jonathan Kuminga was on the verge of being like our show's guy. Like I developed a relationship with Aaron Turner. I developed a relationship with Jonathan Kuminga. This was good. I would have potentially had a weekly segment with JK on this team as the face of the Warriors, but Steve Kerr had to be an absolute piece of shit. And so here we are. Kuminga is now looking for a third team. The reason why Kuminga is not signed with the Hawks yet is because he wants $20 million per, and with the Lakers. I'm sorry. The reason why he's not signed with the Lakers
2
yet
for 20 is what that
is because he wants $20 million per season. The Lakers can only offer $10 million with salary cap restrictions, and the Hawks don't want to play ball with a sign and trade that sends Jared Vanderbilt there. Like the Hawks have no interest in that money. The Hawks also have an issue with owners who are pretty frugal. So they don't have an ownership group. Side note, they're owners. I don't know if you're aware of this. Jamie Gertz is one of the owners. It's a husband-wife team.
Yes.
Miss, do you don't have a spare? What was the quote in Seinfeld? A square to spare. You don't have a square to spare?
Square, yes.
Not one square to spare in the toilet. This was a bid with Elaine Bennis, a.k.a. Julia Louis-Dreyfus. Jamie Gertz is a famous actress who is retired mostly, but her and her husband own the Hawks, and they have a reputation for being frugal, and they don't want to take on Jared Vanderbilt's contract. So LA's had to look for a third team, and apparently that's become challenging. The Cavaliers are reportedly interested. I'm with you. I just want to see.
Well, the Cavs, I think, have the exception, right? The Cavs, there's only a few teams that have the exception. I think the Cavs do have the money. The Cavs are one of the teams. That's why they keep coming up. There's not a ton of teams that actually have that exception available. And so the Cavs do. So that's a worthy spot for him. And I would say, does that change things? I think the Cavs now become part of our conversation. JK is with Cleveland. All of a sudden, you and I are talking about another team there. So that's for the East. I did want to say one thing about the Warriors, though, sorry, because
please,
the Draymond thing is fascinating to me.
Yes.
I think that was the destination in the end. We all understand that there was the moment that he opts out, and then we think LeBron is going to be with the Warriors. And then the most fascinating thing I heard is, imagine if they both ended up somewhere else, which could have been part of this. There could have been a moment, right? There was a moment in time where we thought, wait, maybe Draymond's opting out because he knows LeBron is going to end up with Philly. Maybe they both end up in Philly somehow or somewhere else, maybe in Cleveland. Actually, I think I heard it was Cleveland. That's what it was. I heard for a moment, maybe could you imagine if they both ended up in Cleveland after all is said and done? That would be hysterical. By the way, what a hero Draymond would be in Cleveland. He's already a key to their championship with LeBron, right? Imagine if him and LeBron together in Cleveland. That would be amazing. But now that it's Draymond and Steph and Jimmy, I have two questions for you. Can't you envision a world? Now, let's not talk about injuries. All right, we're gonna go best case scenario from a health standpoint. Mm-hmm. Can you talk yourself into a non-play-in and a playoff team and a playoff run? Let's even talk about winning a playoff series. Can you talk yourself into a playoff series win with Jimmy, Steph, Draymond? Is that at least interesting enough? I know we're summer league champs here. I mean, let's even say we're excited about the draft pick, which we are at the moment, right? Is there a world? Because right now, waving the white flag is
hold on, Sam, hold on. You brought up the draft, the Axel Foley. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Love it. And it's so true. And the Axel Foley is well worth talking about here. But is there a world where that team wins a playoff series in the West? I mean, again, Lakers are largely irrelevant when it comes to the championship last season, but they did win a playoff series against, I'll put in quotations, Kevin Durant. We all know that he didn't really play, but the Lakers without Luka and Austin Reeves won a playoff series. Can the Warriors do the same? Steph, Jimmy, Draymond, like, is there something? I know the West seems crowded right now, but
let's talk about the West. Did they make a graph like that for the West?
So I don't have it for the West. Unfortunately, that one was about really like that one was looking specifically now that LeBron landed. So I don't have that, but it is interesting to look at the West with the Warriors. And I know they've been largely what we say now is you're in this sort of play in creates a new kind of hell, right? There's this new limbo, right? Playoff, like being an 8 seed. I remember the Hawks, actually, we talked a lot about the Hawks. Remember when the Hawks used to be like, they were the classic team that would make the playoffs. There was a year they had 5 All-Stars, by the way. Remember that when they had, I think it was Korver,
they won 60 games.
Right, exactly.
Yes.
So yet
Al Horford
still
was on that team too.
Yes. So there was the Hawks. There were Hawks teams that made the playoffs year after year and yet ended up not collecting high draft picks. Then there were those Hawks teams that were even going to conference finals and not getting over it as well. Play-in limbo now is the worst you could be, right? Isn't that the absolute worst? I mean,
you mean like what the Warriors are year after year?
Correct. I'm saying, what kind of a weird spot is this? Like, we're not really competing. Now we're competing for a play-in, which it's worked. Give Adam Silver credit. Because you get caught up as a fan, right? As a fan, like once your team drops out of top 4, now you're like, can we make the playoffs? Like everyone's like, all right, are we a top 4 team? Then when you're out of that conversation, now you're really excited to just make the playoffs. And now the play-in has added this new fun game for fans to say, well, we're almost there. And you start to convince yourselves, well, we'll make the play-in and then we'll get in and then anything can happen. Right? The amount of ifs involved with that is so disgusting. Yet all you need is this much hope as a fan base to start convincing yourself. And that's the reality of this Warriors team. It sucks, but can there be a way in which Jimmy, Draymond, and Steph carries you beyond that and firmly into a 6 seed and a playoff win?
No. The answer to that is a resounding no. First of all, Jimmy's not going to play until January at the earliest. That's one of many crazy parts. Like we haven't really talked about this on the show, but some news items have dropped recently from credible sources that the Warriors could have had Jaylen Brown, but it would have cost them 4 first-round picks, right? They could have maybe had Michael Porter Jr. Last year, but Steve Kerr shot that down. The point is there are some names out there that the team could pursue, but they want to keep Jimmy Butler. And there's another report that maybe they could have traded Jimmy if you attached a first-round pick or two to Washington.
Well, that is real. So the Anthony Davis thing, now that you brought that up, let's discuss. But
really quick, we can discuss.
Go,
quick, I just want to add, the Warriors are turning these trade ideas down, partly because they don't want to give up the first round picks, but also because they want to keep Jimmy Butler. I don't get that part of it. A guy who's not going to be back until, again, January at the earliest, and then you're praying on a 37-year-old coming off an ACL tear, one of the most severe injuries a professional athlete could ever suffer, and that is what you're pinning your hopes on? That's batshit crazy to me. But that's my take. I don't know.
I love Jimmy. I love Jimmy in the locker room. People in Philly have a very weird opinion of Jimmy Butler. Because before this year, when the team has real hope because of Jaylen and LeBron, before that, the closest this team ever got was bounce, Kawhi game 7, right? That's as close. This team, as far as getting over, quote, the hump, this team making it to a conference final in Philly, the closest ever was game 7 with Toronto, where Jimmy ties that game late, by the way. That game went to the point where the final possession was in Kawhi's hand. Jimmy had tied that game. Then Kawhi comes down and hits the 3 to end it and win it. That's how that went. But Jimmy... And
then Philly gives up Jimmy for nothing, or for Tobias Harris, right?
The quote from Jimmy is Tobias Harris. I think it was slightly more complicated than that, but not much. Not much.
It wasn't much. One of many reasons, Sam, why front offices, I have zero faith in them, man. I just don't trust NBA front offices. Like
I'm with you, and I don't know how the analytics could have even told you that was worth it going the other way. I don't understand it. But the reason that people in Philly have this love affair with Jimmy is because of that. Because Jimmy, off of that, for a team that they felt strongest about. Then he did what he did with Miami, dragging that Miami team to a 6-game series in the finals with LeBron the year that the Lakers won it in the bubble. So Philly's got it in their minds that he was that missing piece. And it's not just because of on the court. And of course, he was very good on both ends of the court. But remember, it was a locker room thing because that was a divided and weird locker room where Embiid and Simmons couldn't get on the same page. And Jimmy came in there, much like the knock on him with Minnesota was that he was too much of a hard ass. Philly respects a hard ass. Philly likes a hard ass. And so that part of Jimmy, is there a possibility that Golden State loves that also?
Well, and yes. Well, no doubt. Well, first of all, I forgot the name of the coach who I think was ultimately responsible for Jimmy leaving. Was it Brown? His last name was
Brett
Brown.
Yes.
And who knows what that guy's doing now? But
he was. And by the way, he was like a Popovich. He was in the Spurs organization. Brett Brown
doesn't always mean that's a good thing. Mike
No. You talk about nepotism. Remember, he was tied to Ben Simmons through LSU. There was like a really weird. Brett Brown was tight with like Ben's father through. There was a lot there with Brett Brown. So yeah, go for it.
And so you're right. And Philly again, they move on from Jimmy Butler inexplicably. A horrible decision. The thing, you're absolutely right about the chemistry issue, and I think, or not an issue, the chemistry variable, and ultimately that's what that's the Warriors' modus operatus in 2026: chemistry, fit, comfort. We want our safe space, bro. Here's the problem with that: you won 37 games last year. It's one thing if you're a 50+ win team competing for championships. Chemistry sure as shit matters. When you're a 37 win team and your team is pushing and your best players are pushing 40 and you're worrying about chemistry, dude, it's white flag, man. We're done. Just give us your season tickets. We'll take your money. We're not promising shit. Just give us your money. You want assurances? Just give us your money. You get season tickets. Just shut the hell up and sit down. That's what's going on with the Warriors in 2026. It's crazy. Do you understand what I'm trying to say here in terms of chemistry with that?
There's another great story. If you want, for everyone out there, of course, listen to this podcast, Golden Days, to get your information and to get a good feel for this season. Also, the Steph Marcus Thompson conversation after LeBron went to Philly is a really good one. It's a read. I don't think it's a pod. I don't think it's video. I don't think it's I don't think Steph's speaking in it, but he's quoted all throughout it.
Yeah.
And it's really about him giving a full throttled sigh for this season, Cyrus. That's what it feels like to me. It feels the article feels like this to me. And he does speak to the what if Jimmy is healthy last season. There's a lot of that in it, right? There's a lot of Steph saying like, well, it's tough to talk about it because we could have been.
Can I add to
that,
Sam, yes. as a Warriors insider who hears a lot of shit, Steph, the front office, Kerr, they all believe steadfastly with conviction that the Jimmy Butler injury was the difference between them winning a championship and not. Like they believe that to the core. And I'm going to add this, my 2 cents to it, which is if you had not ruined that Kuminga situation, I think you're right. But you needed some young athletic wing type player like JK. Yaxel would have been good 2 years ago. That's a huge reason why I love Yaxel is because we might have found a replacement for JK incredibly. And that's dumb luck, man. That is just luck that this happened, but it did. But yeah, that's what the Warriors truly believe. In the same setting I was in where I broke the news a few months ago that Steve Kerr was going to retire, and then he changes his mind, and you had a few clowns going, you're wrong, even though it's completely documented that he changed his mind. I'm more looking into the nuance and wondering, did he actually change his mind, or did the Warriors change their mind when they heard from Stephen Curry and then decided, look, Steph wants you. We want to make him happy. Come back. Who knows what the facts are of the situation, but that they all believe it. And in the same setting where I heard that from an assistant coach on Steve Kerr's staff, they all believe that the Jimmy Butler injury is the sole reason why the Warriors do not have a 5th championship in this dynasty. What are your thoughts to that?
I can't imagine that team up against San Antonio, OKC. When you look at how the West really played out, I mean, even Minnesota, right? I mean, is there a way in which they're better than Minnesota? Maybe I can talk myself into beating Minnesota in a playoff series. I don't know that I could see 7 games and winning 4 of them against OKC or San Antonio. And I was ahead of the curve. Remember, I said to Larry over a year ago that San Antonio was the team I saw as the future of this entire league. He asked me, he was saying, the league transitioning from one dynasty to the next, what would you see as the next thing? And I said, well, I'd have to put faith in the Spurs. They just hired, they just got the player that is going to be bigger than everybody, that could be the next Shaq, and it's going to the right organization. This isn't an organization that's going to fuck it up with Wemby. And here they are now. Maybe they are the future of the league. So can I see Golden State getting through those 2 teams that we know are so significant when you talk about it? I don't know. Could they beat Denver? Okay. Could they beat Minnesota? Okay.
Okay. I love it. You're just saying okay.
Like, I'm saying, like, I could, like, okay, yes, but the problem is that's not what I mean. Is that's not even, you're talking championship.
Like, it's realistic. It's
right. I'm talking about, like,
notion,
okay,
yeah.
like, yes, I could see the ceiling beating one of those teams, but that only gets you to a Western Conference final at best. Winning 2 more rounds is a pretty big deal. And I can't see them with a healthy Jimmy winning 2 more rounds under that scenario last season. And I guess my real question to you is, because you brought him up, Steve Kerr, I'll also say, if what I said earlier, if this team wins a playoff series as currently constructed this season, do you, and I'll just say I believe in Steve Kerr, but do you and this podcast, is there credit to Steve Kerr? If Steve Kerr can find a way to squeeze a playoff series win out of this roster, I got to say it's pretty fucking impressive. Why are we
celebrating playoff series wins?
I'll just say, for where this team looks like they're headed, I would be impressed if this team wins a playoff series this year. I'd say it's Kerr's,
it would be impressive.
It's not his greatest, it's not his greatest accomplishment.
Yes.
Obviously, he's got the resume is full of some pretty impressive things, but from a roster standpoint, considering you have always spread that success to others instead of on Kerr, this would be Kerr. This would be a bunny out of the hat for Kerr.
I've been saying for 3 years now, Sam, that if Steve Kerr somehow can lead as head coach the Warriors to a 5th championship in this dynasty, I'm getting a Steve Kerr tattoo on my body. I have no tattoos on my body right now, and not because I'm against them. It just has never timed out, and I've never really found something I want as permanent art on my body outside of my now previously deceased puppy, who I will at some point get on my somewhere on me. Yes. I'm going to do that. But a second tattoo, I'll put Steve Kerr on my body if that ever happens. That's how certain I am it's not going to happen. Sam, let me ask you this. Why do you have reverence for Steve Kerr? I'm always fascinated by people who actually like him. It blows my mind. But go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. I would say largely our time together in the Bay Area is why. A couple of things. So you and I have here's why.
Chris Cohen era, you mean?
Correct. Here's why the Steve Kerr thing is so powerful for me. You and I show up in a world where this team is really, we're talking about PJ Carlesimo, Latrell Sprewell, right? I mean, this is the era of Warriors basketball that we're walking into. And that was the high end of it. What I just said was the high end of what we experienced. All right. Donyell Marshall, Bobby Sura, obviously Antoine was very good. Antoine Jameson was good for a lot of those. But I mean, we spent a lot of time with team. I mean, he was their best player. He was right. I should
speaking. Yes.
Antoine was their best player, right? In regards to the rest of the league, there was a lot to be desired. I mean, we were talking about like beating the Lakers 1 game in the series over the course of the regular season was considered a good season.
Yeah.
I mean, it was that bad. So we experienced a lot of teams, and we also got introduced to Rick during that time, to Rick Barry, right? So we spent time with someone who represented the only time that the organization previously had ever really been on top. And then we were with an organization that was, as crazy as it is to say, I mean, forget about the Clippers. The Warriors were the ultimate basement in this whole thing. I mean, it was that bad. We saw some really terribly constructed rosters over the course of that time. Then there was the We Believe Baron Davis beating the Mavericks in the first round, right? And you're okay. So finally, and it's
we
like
were there
Don,
for all that,
right?
Yeah.
Don Nelson. It's like, okay, finally, here's something interesting.
Nelly with the stogie, which you'd always
exactly,
have.
Right.
Yeah.
And then really nothing. And then what we relived last week with Rick grabbing the mic at the Chris Mullin night saying,
yes,
trust this man. Yes, they're not going to commit to Monte Ellis. They're going to commit to Steph Curry, and it's going to be the right thing and a dynasty. Now, remember also, beloved before that, the head coach before Kerr. Now, I don't know. Part of your argument must be on this in some way.
Of course.
And of course, Mark Jackson still doesn't have a job in the league. So it's like all of that is really like fuzzy math and really weird. And why was he
it's
blackballed?
Politics. And this is where it plays such and it's corporate politics, right?
Yes.
It's that plays such a huge part in this. And it goes also to why I have little faith in front offices, because most of them are also playing this corporate game, and the corporate game does not often translate to talent and what works best on a court. But I apologize for interrupting you. Go ahead.
All I'm going to say is Mark Jackson was doing something that I already was talk about reference. I had reference for Mark Jackson because you and I had not you and I had not seen that there was, like, as far as a core, like the Baron Davis thing was fun, but it wasn't like a young core, right? That was clearly that was lightning in a bottle. We understand that. And as it was, look what the Mavericks did from that, right? They end up winning the championship later from that, in that horrible moment where Dirk's got to get the MVP trophy after losing.
But it derailed them for like 3 years, man.
It was brutal, but obviously the last laugh in the end for them. But Mark Jackson clearly had it ascending, and you could see, oh, wow. This team believes. This team has a core now. Mark Jackson is changing the culture of something that you and I thought, and again, very great organization to be around. Really fun to be around the Warriors. The building was great. It was lively. We love Raymond Ritter to this day, right? Like all of that was super cool. Yes.
And side note, Raymond Ritter was begging us to come to games back then.
It was awesome. We loved hanging out with Raymond Ritter. Okay, we did.
I've got 4 tickets. You guys want to come?
It was awesome. It was awesome. We did. We loved it. And credit to Raymond and what a tremendous dude he is to this day.
He's
Love Raymond Ritter, okay? But Mark Jackson had it clearly moving in the right direction when it came to wins. And again, competing now in those series against the Clippers and all of that was so interesting. So it was stunning when that, or almost as stunning as when Thibodeau was fired by the Knicks. I thought, wow, well, the only way this works out is if now
a year later
win. Right. Do they have to win with Mike Brown? Well, they fucking did it. Okay, congratulations. Well, Steve Kerr, the only way to me, I was like, you're going to take an organization, again, the Knicks, like you've been irrelevant. Now you're in the Eastern Conference Final. You're going to tell Tom Thibodeau to fuck off? Good luck. Warriors, you've been fucking irrelevant since the one run with We Believe, and now you're going to tell Mark Jackson to fuck off? What are you thinking? Now, what are you going to win? What are you going to win 4 championships with Steve Kerr? Yeah, we are. So I only say I'm trying to judge it on the results, Cyrus, because because at times in our lives we have to just admit being wrong. And look, when I worked with Colin, there was a great saying. We said it on the air and we said it in the room. Sometimes you got to get it right instead of being right. We all hold our opinion, right? We all want our opinion to win the room, but sometimes you got to get the right answer. And sometimes the right answer isn't your answer. It's like a collection of other things. Somehow, Steve Kerr held the right temperature with everyone in the room to really bring the best out of it. Could Mark Jackson have won a title? I believe he could have. I strongly believe that Mark Jackson could have and would have won a title. Would it have been dynastic?
Well, and just to add to that, would it have been dynastic if Kevin Durant didn't come? That's why I hesitate.
That's a good one. That's a good one. That's an interesting. You're right. That's interesting.
All this credit.
Although technically, wait, but I just want to get the timeline right. Championship season followed by record-setting regular season without Durant, followed by the 3-1 Draymond kick loss.
No. The 73 win 3-1 was all the same year.
That's what I mean. No, that's what I'm saying. In other words, the best, like technically the best season they ever had, you could argue was like without KD. I'm trying to just go back and remember how.
In terms of 73 wins,
right. What I'm saying is they were so great. They were like, to me, what I mean by that is they were on their way to a dynasty without KD, right? Like you could wrap yourself around that. Like much of the way the Seahawks were almost a dynasty with Pete Carroll, but they lose on the Malcolm Butler play, right? Like it's sort of like you could talk yourself into it was almost 2 in a row, but it wasn't. Same with those Warriors. It was like, well, that was kind of 2 in a row, even though you lost the 3-1 lead and you got the Iguodala block and then the Kyrie shot and like all of that. But you're right. KD's an interesting one there. And how much credit does Kerr get for that? Other than, by the way, think about this, Cyrus, what's KD done without Kerr?
without Kerr. That's the part where we're like, I don't know why you say it like that. I'm like Kerr's responsible. Here's my point. Here's where I push back strongly. The one guy who was there at the beginning of the success until the end of the success was not Kerr. It was Bob Myers. I also, and again, a lot of this stuff has come to me over years of studying this team, years of studying the game. Like, the old adage of, wisdom comes with age. It's real for a reason. And a couple conclusions I've come to in recent years, you may or may not agree with, and maybe it'll leave you thinking, or maybe you just will push back strongly. NBA coaches are some of the most worthless individuals on the planet. They're very similar to they have much more of a manager role than they do a coaching role, right? Like I'm not diminishing college coaches, I'm not diminishing high school coaches, but in the sport of basketball, when it gets to the professional level, your job primarily, and our boy Rick Barry beautifully stated it as such, the lone power of a head coach in the NBA is deciding who plays and who does not. And that's where the Steve Kerr experience for 4 years now has been driving me absolutely insane. I never criticized him once until 2023, when I started to really see his rotational decisions and go, God damn, this is just and that's where I started calling him obtuse, because only an obtuse person plays Corey Joseph over Moses Moody, only plays Lindy Waters over Guy Santos, who plays 4 point guard lineups and think that's going to translate to success. That's what Steve Kerr does. The one constant in terms of the dynasty starting and ending was Myers. He put together such incredible rosters that Steve Kerr could just sit there. And again, this is where myself and some people will disagree. Like you bring up the fact that Kerr was, managing the temperature of a locker room. My response to that is, coaches, these are adults, most of whom are just checking out the moment they're in that locker room. A coach, they're not listening to this guy. Did you see what Kevin Durant wrote in his burner in those messages that got leaked? Like how badly he slandered Steve Kerr. I hear what you're saying about Durant. Like, since then, what has he done? I mean, look, we could argue that he was an inch away from actually.
I don't love, because that was not Game 7 in the NBA Finals. So I don't like. But
they probably would have if you
I don't love the probably and giving you like 2 more series wins. I don't love that. I like Halliburton in a Game 7 injured. I'll give you that. Like, I'll say Indiana was close. I don't love the we were in the conference final and then we would have beaten.
But the team that they lost to, the Bucks, won the chip, and I don't think Brooklyn.
If you want to tell me Denver would have been a better opponent in the Super Bowl this year than New England, I'll give you that if Bo Nix is healthy. Like, there are little things I can give you. I'm not going to say that if the Dez Bryant catch no catch in Green Bay in a divisional game gives the Cowboys the Super Bowl title that year. That means they would have had to beat Seattle in the NFC Championship and then the Patriots in the Super Bowl. I'm not just giving them those 2 wins because of one play in a game. Fair, so I'm not giving Durant's toe on a team that we all can say was a full vomit in your mouth experiment. What are you talking? Kyrie, Simmons, Harden, Durant, right? Am I missing anybody with that?
Look at the Warriors after Kevin Durant left. One championship.
Well, the 20. I was going to ask you how much. See, I love the 22 championship so much.
I love it too.
Because
I love it too.
The idea, because what it does for Steph's, what it solidifies as Steph being, and I'll argue a lot of times for Steph being the greatest player of all time. Like, I can go down that road. I love it. And for those of us that aren't severely gifted with height and like just all of the athletic prowess,
he's an appealing figure. Yeah,
Steph is just so likable, right, in every single way. And so that one says like, wow, to now do it without KD, while KD doesn't do it elsewhere. It's so beautiful. But what did you think? What did Kerr do that season also? I mean, that was an impressive win over a Celtics
team.
Sam,
answer your own question. What did he do that? What did he do that? What did he do? Because Kerr that season kept saying this is not a championship team. I was saying they were. Myself and Stephen A. Smith were the only 2 people in this whole media game who were predicting. I was guaranteeing in summer 2021 that we're going to win the championship, not because of Kerr, because Bob Myers put together a perfect roster. What was Kerr doing in your mind that season that resulted in the championship?
I think, look, to me, still chemistry does play a part. Now, I want to say something. I want to give you credit for something. I love what you said about now. It's not to me. I'm not as interested in the rotations and the playing time, but what you said about chemistry being figured out by men, that's where Draymond comes into this for me. Yeah, because that locker room, we know Steph's not necessarily screaming to a group of men. We know that Draymond's voice has carried a lot of weight there. We know that the KD and Draymond thing, like we all admit that with KD, like the Warriors would still be winning titles if KD was still right. Like it would still be happening.
The dynasty would still be intact. Correct.
And we know where Draymond played a role in that splitting. If we have to put the blame pie there. I know Kerr gets some of it, but
Draymond has no responsibility in that. That's one of many myths, and this is why I'm so critical of Steve Kerr, and I don't levy the same criticism towards Draymond. Draymond Green had, and Kevin Durant has confirmed this, Draymond Green had nothing to do with Durant leaving. That outburst that happened in that Clippers game, Durant was already gone. Draymond reacted the way he did because he knew Kevin Durant was leaving after that season and hated the distraction that was causing, and he didn't want to hear lip from KD in the middle of the game, late in a game more specifically. It had everything to do with Kerr. Kerr was the sole reason why Kevin Durant left. You should have seen Rick Barry's face when I told him that. He's still stunned about that. Like, this is why I'm so critical of Steve Kerr. Let me flip it to you in another manner, that because you follow the NFL insanely closely. I can safely call you an expert in the NFL. Bill Belichick, 6 Super Bowls as a head coach, right? Are you giving him credit? I mean, he deserves some credit.
Well, no, I mean, much like we're talking about the 22 championship, the Tampa championship with Brady is such a slap at that argument forever, right? For Brady to go a place in one season to a place that's not known for winning. Jameis Winston's there with 4,000 yards, and that's as close as they get. And he comes in and just bam, him and Gronk, come in and they win a title with Bruce Arians, and they just made it their building like that. Says it forever. I mean, what Brady did, Brady was the ultimate, like, you want to settle this argument right now. I just won it with Tampa. I mean, and by the way, beat Mahomes at a time when I understand we weren't, like, Mahomes wasn't quite there yet at that time. Incredible. Now go back and look at it. Mahomes didn't even throw, now granted, Mahomes got sacked, didn't throw a touchdown in that Super Bowl, but that is the ultimate. For Brady to have done that ends it in many, many ways. I also say that Kerr winning it without KD, Steph winning it without KD, and I know you're saying those two things are not the same. I get that, but if your argument ultimately, I think I love your argument so much more if it's really that you don't like, because when you talk about rotations, I don't like it as much. If you're going to say Kerr split it all up, now that's interesting. That's interesting.
And I'm not making this up. I mean, Logan Murdoch wrote a whole report on this. He literally wrote Kevin Durant left the Warriors, and here was the added evidence. 2 years ago, the Warriors had a chance to get Kevin Durant back.
Yes.
And they were going to trade Jonathan Kuminga to the Suns to get him. Kevin Durant told them, don't do it. I don't want to come there. Why? One dude. It wasn't Draymond Green, who Kevin Durant has gone on his podcast with countless times since then, who he hangs out with. Draymond Green is far more popular of a figure in the NBA circles than fans will give him credit for. I understand why he gets a lot of the vitriol, but his peers don't dislike him, with the exception of Jordan Poole and maybe Tristan Thompson. The 98% of his peers love him. They party with him. They hang out with him. By the way, Kevin Durant, this right here. I'm going to share this screen right here. And apologies because there's some crass language on this. I will read it as well. But I'll obviously read it in a sensitive manner. Kevin Durant wrote this and included this picture. He wrote, I started holding Steph accountable in film, and N-words looked at me like this. And his point is that Steve Kerr created an environment where there was a double standard of treatment for superstars, for anybody, where Steph was held to one level of accountability, which is really none. And then Kevin Durant, who, again, you kind of have to read the room and understand you got to treat this guy a little differently. You got to treat him special. Steve Kerr didn't roll like that. And Durant said, I'm out. I'm done. And look, you can sit here and criticize Kevin Durant for not winning shit since then, but I think you and I are in agreement that if Durant stays, this is still a dynasty. So why couldn't the head coach make it work? That's why I'm so critical of this guy, man. Like,
okay, I think this is really interesting. And what KD alludes to there is something I brought up earlier about Jimmy Butler. That would be very much a Jimmy Butler type response. You could see Jimmy Butler saying that. You could see Jimmy Butler holding people accountable in a room. I will be fascinated to know when his career in Golden State is done, what Jimmy Butler says to us about Steve Kerr in the end. Did Jimmy Butler become a better player in any way because of Steve Kerr? Is he going to give Steve Kerr credit for anything he did in his career, or is this going to be a blip? We know that Jimmy Butler has done more as far as advancing further in the playoffs with other coaches. We know that. But will Jimmy Butler will he have reverence for Steve Kerr, or will he have a different opinion? And it's a little different. KD has won championships with and still has this negative opinion of Kerr. So that says a lot. But will Jimmy, I will be fascinated to know if that was a similar experience for Jimmy Butler, who should be able to call people out. He should be able to call anybody out in a film room. Jimmy Butler should certainly.
Let me show you.
Yes.
Let me show you one more. And you're absolutely right. My only pushback to that is Jimmy Butler. Again, he's 37. Why has the world changed that much, Sam? Where guys pushing 40, we have to suddenly start pretending are still relevant? Because
I mean, I'll say this much: relevant. Okay, I would say relevant or difference maker are slightly different. Sorry, that's all I'll say. Like Jimmy Butler is relevant, but he may not be a difference maker. That's right. That's fair. I'll say that much. And star power and name recognition still is important. But yes.
This is the other leaked. This is the other one that Durant leaked. It's crazy. Kevin Durant also wrote in these texts, since Michael Jordan punched Steve Kerr in the face, he don't F with dark skins. So do you think Kevin Durant likes Steve Kerr? I mean, because
clearly, look, clearly, there's obviously incredible racial, I won't even call them overtones. There are racial overtones there. And he's going right at it. And so I don't know. I don't know when that would have turned. I obviously know this much. I know that Kerr and Kevin Durant at some point had to get along on some level. At some point.
They got along with the Olympics, right?
Yes.
They're professionals. I'm not saying these guys hate each other to the point where they can't be in the same room. They're professionals. But when Kevin Durant has the choice, when he has the option to make the decision on his own, he will not play for Steve Kerr.
Look, obviously the Suns trade back, which I wanted so much. I was rooting for that. All I wanted was Kevin Durant back with Steph I wanted that dynasty back together. And I was so upset because remember, the story then was KD wanted to take his kids out of school. That was pretty much it, right? That was he just doesn't want to disrupt his life in the middle of a season in Phoenix. That's what really came out of that. So I'm glad there's another significant opinion. He certainly made it clear why he actually did that.
Does that seem weird to you, by the way? I never heard that before from any player. It's difficult to move in the middle of a season.
You know what's funny? You know what I said at the time? I said on a few podcasts at the time, it's actually the most relatable thing I've ever heard. Because if any of us were asked, right now, Sam, right now, would you want to move here for this? What would you do? You'd think about wow, do I want to leave LA? Right? All of us actually put on a piece of paper the pros and cons. We always expect professional athletes to just go, yeah. Great. Better chance to win, a little more money, better weather. We all expect these decisions.
Not to mention, and Sam, these guys are all living in Kevin Durant was not settled in Phoenix. He probably lived in a hotel or some sort of high-rise rental. He has people who carry his bags, who organize everything for him. Moving from there to the Bay Area would be just another day. That's what people wanted to say, but I remember the time saying, you know what? I think I relate that Durant, that maybe the answer is actually something that I would say, okay, I kind of like that. It was a little relatable. Yes, it was relatable.
I was like, all right, maybe I'm just not ready to leave Phoenix. Okay.
And Kevin Durant doesn't have kids, as Simon mentions in the chat. So it's not like you're relocating family.
Yeah, let's get the kids out of school. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All Kevin Durant and Klay Thompson are two-piece from the same pod, man. They love video games, they love hoops, they love Instagram models, and they love weed. They have Peter Pan syndrome, and more power to you. Yes. You have that luxury. I'm envious, right? But most men women don't have that freedom to just go, today I'm just going to play video games for 24 hours straight. And if I feel like it, I'll play basketball. If I feel like it, I'll call up a perfect 10 to just a non-fat to just come to my house. Dude, it's an incredible life. Sorry to slip that in there. It's an incredible life to live if you're a professional athlete. Something tells me moving in the middle of the season would not be a primary difference maker. But you're right. It did make him relatable. It did. It was a relatable thing to say. Movie's a bitch. Movie's a bitch. Right.
It sucks. It's kind of tough. I'm doing my thing here. Okay. Yeah. Phoenix is not a bad place to be. But
and then he bounced, and then he left right after that anyway.
And then exactly. And then guess what? Yeah, see you later anyway. So
I'm going to Houston, so much better of a city than the Bay Area. Sam, your Philadelphia 76ers, though. Let's bring it back there.
Yes.
This is fun, man. Are you learning about the Warriors being on here? Like,
dude, it's so good. I mean, look, the part of it is because again, I this run I have loved. And again, because you and I are very close, Aaron Larsoul is a
you're my brother,
dear friend of mine. And
how's he doing, by the way? He covers the Lakers.
Great. He's doing great. He's close to the Lakers organization, but deep
close
down
to Jay
in his
Moore.
heart, he is a Warriors. Exactly.
Mr.
Jay
Bus.
Moore, Genie Bus. He's tight with all of them. But he's such a Warriors fan. And so for over the years, I mean, I'm even talking about the Antoine Jameson days and Danielle Marshall. He and I were so in on the Warriors and covering them and then in being close to the games and just loving it. And so through his eyes, I've seen so much of this. And I loved, nothing was cooler than watching KD and those Warriors dominate the way that they did. And I was so upset to see it just fissure the way that it did. And I credit Kerr with some of that. I do love that you're parsing between what is Bob Myers and what is Steve Kerr. A lot of people in LA don't love Dave Roberts still. Dave Roberts gets a lot of credit. I think he deserves it for what the Dodgers are doing. But a lot of people say that in baseball, right? The front office is giving you what the lineup's basically going to be.
I did not know that. Dave Roberts gets criticized?
Yes. Dave Roberts gets criticized a lot.
But
he does. And he, of course, they're about to win 3 in a row. But if they don't, Dave Roberts is going to get hell for this. Yes, Dave Roberts
because of how stacked the teams are, like the expectation is
exactly. Think about the argument in baseball is they're spending so much more. So that's the like at least in basketball in the NBA, it's like it's pretty even with salary cap and aprons and all that bullshit, right? But in Major League Baseball, it's like, well, they spend 3 times, 5 times as much as the Marlins. Like clearly that's going to happen, right? So that's why. That's why that gets said a lot. No, that's just unbelievable.
How did they win a 2 World Series? I'll never get it. But going back to your Philadelphia 76ers, because I just realized we're nearly out an hour and a half.
Oh, look at this.
And I did not notice an hour and a half pass. Sam, I love you, man. That's a sign of a good show. To wrap it up, and then I'm going to introduce you to Shardul Gupta.
Oh, I can't wait.
Our closer. You're going to enter the danger zone.
I'm so
Sam.
excited.
I just warming you up, and then we'll finish the show right after that. A brief hit with Shardul, aka Apex Sports Network, is
the closer.
What he runs now.
The closer.
Yep. Our closer, Philly. They're one of the favorites to win the championship this year. And my one skepticism of them. Oh, by the way, we were going to touch on this with the West, going back to basketball discussions in general, but just to finish up on just the West really quickly here. This is who FanDuel has listed as the favorites. And the West suddenly feels a lot like what the East used to be, where you'd have 1 or 2 like superpowers and then a whole bunch of like, but the West's is still to me a lot better than the East. But OKC and San Antonio, if that makes sense. OKC and San Antonio are your clear favorites. I think Denver is still a threat. Like if Denver was in the East and I'm New York or I'm Philly, I'm scared shitless of them. And same with Minnesota. I think Minnesota has that fear factor as well. But you take away those top 4 and then the drop off is precipitous. I think like Houston, I don't have faith in them. They might do something. The Lakers, I don't
Looking at all this through FanDuel, there's 2 bets I want to make today though, by the way. If I had $200 right now, I would throw 100 on the Nuggets. I still think that's interesting. I would like a ticket. I would like a ticket with the Nuggets to win the West. I think that would be
plus 1,400. Okay.
It's nice money to win. They don't have to win the title. And really, they probably have to win 1 playoff series against the powers, right? The likelihood is there's a good possibility that the bracket stacks out that they wouldn't have to beat San Antonio and OKC. And maybe they'll only have to beat one of them. And I could see a scenario in which Jokic can do that for them. So I do like that. I would take that ticket. The other one, I already said it, Indiana. I know what the odds are in the East. I would love to have Indiana on that one. But stick it with the way and right, what would that get
you?
That's
crazy. Look at these odds for the East. Jesus, Indiana is plus 1,700. So it's the Knicks, Philly, awesome. Boston, Toronto, Detroit, Cleveland, Miami 7th with Giannis, Orlando 8th, Indiana 9th.
See, that's it. Those are that's my $100 on each of those right now to win.
Good for you. Those are good bets.
If I get both of them in there, I win $3,000. Right? Okay.
And then look, the Warriors 7th in the West, even though they have no chance in hell of doing that.
That's hysterical.
Chance.
That's hysterical.
Like, if there's a way to bet against that, like, is there a way to bet?
You can.
Shorts in the stock market. You bet against.
Nice.
I'd bet the short if that existed for the Warriors. But
so in the West, Cyrus, I think I'm just going to go with it's not exciting at all for me to say it, but I want to go to something that I said when it was a more dramatic statement. San Antonio 2 years ago, when I said it, would have been nice to be on that, and I'm gonna stick with it. I say San Antonio is right there. I don't see any reason to believe with what I mean. Why would you say? Did OKC lose for any other reason than San Antonio being the better team? Right. I can't talk myself into something that happened dramatically. Right. I don't know that the offseason would tell me that anything is shifted. So I like that where it is. And I don't think Minnesota is the interesting one. Do we believe that the core of Minnesota is knocking on the door the way that the Warriors were a couple of seasons ago? Right. Like sometimes you got to take those lumps in the playoffs.
True.
But they didn't take another step forward this season. So I don't love it.
It's think about Anthony Edwards and LaMelo Ball as teammates. Ooh. Like that. I don't
love anything about that.
I don't see that working. I could be wrong. I could be totally wrong, but I'm pretty confident in saying I don't see that working. I could be mistaken 100%. But
is Anthony Edwards the greatest? Yeah. Is Anthony Edwards, by the way, the greatest performance by an NBA player in a movie of all time? Does he surpass Ray Allen?
The one with Adam Sandler?
It's close, right?
It's a great movie. It's a great movie.
He's so good in it. Now, I would say this, but I think Ray Allen is playing a different character, whereas Anthony Edwards is probably playing himself. That might be where it comes down to. Like, if you want to say that Jesus Shuttlesworth is different enough from who Ray Allen may have actually been. But I regardless, those would be the two probably. And I know some people will say LeBron from Shipwrecked, yes. Kareem in Airplane, right? I mean, there's some good ones, but we could do a whole pot on that. But I just want to
Airplane.
I want to give
that is underrated, dude.
Yes.
He's so good, especially that scene where the kid's like, my dad thinks you cost them 500 or there's a shot at a championship, and he's all pissed off about it. Like that.
So good.
Dude, so effing good.
So in regards to the Sixers, Cyrus, you think they're going to be defensively deficient?
Well, I might be nitpicking. Look. Here's the breakdown, real quick. You got. I'm going to read to you all the big names on Philly's team.
Okay, and wait, let's say one thing before you start going. They were defensive efficiency last season, I believe, was 115.5. Now, remember, you're talking.
I don't know what that means.
Okay, it was middle of the pack. It was middle of the pack. Okay, it was middle of the pack. Okay, in the East, just in the East, it was middle of the pack. So 115.5, and you're kind of saying to yourself, okay, now think about it. Paul George and Embiid. You'd love to see that in a world where that meant something defensively, but it didn't. It didn't really. That did not move mountains for them defensively at all. They were okay. They did do something they had not done previously, Cyrus. So since the disaster of the trade, from having the opportunity to draft Jason Tatum to trading with your rival in the Celtics so that you had the opportunity to instead draft Markelle Fultz, to hand over an extra first-round draft pick for the opportunity to fuck that up so bad, is the ultimate Danny Ainge laughing anytime he goes to Philadelphia for the rest of his life. That was so catastrophic. But in that time,
who was responsible with Philly for that decision? Do you know?
That was not Hinkie. And it wasn't Daryl Morey. That was it Colangelo? Was it Brian Colangelo? I think was Brian Colangelo.
Brian Colangelo. One message for you for drafting Markelle Fultz instead of Jason Tatum.
Fuck you.
Continue on.
It just awesome. I mean, just in the way that comes back. And not only that, so Cyrus, not only does obviously the Celtics win that title, they beat Philly 3 times in the playoffs. Tatum has never lost to Philly in the playoffs. Tatum hasn't. Now, granted, last year, right, he was injured, so they lost that series to Philly for the first. So Philly did something they had never previously done last season. They beat Boston in a playoff series with Embiid. Congratulations on that. Yet they did what they always do. They lose in the second round of the playoffs. So I'm not thrilled with where they were. And New York shattered them. I mean, New York scored at will against the Sixers. That was not a series. Think about it. It was the Mother Day Massacre, right? In the sweep, the 4th game was not even close whatsoever. There was no difference between being in the Garden or being in Philly. That series was over the minute that it started. And I would not have thought that. That looked like a competitive series when it started, and it was anything but. So, how much is Paul George out, Jaylen Brown in, LeBron in? Also, do you like Simons? Do you like Wade?
I'm going to read you all the names because when you actually break it down, they're scary good, right? So the starting 5 we all know. It's Embiid, Jaylen Brown, LeBron James, Tyrese Maxey, and apologies for this wild take, but I do believe it with conviction. VJ Edgecombe to me is the best player in the Sixers. And all he needs is experience. You guys have such a special player. And I get that for this coming season, Nick Nurse is probably going to sit him down and go, look, man, like you're going to be a superstar in this game, but look around you and understand that you got to play a part if this is going to work. With that said, I love VJ Edgecombe. The fact that you guys got him is unbelievable. With that said, that's your starting five. Then you have Dean Wade coming off the bench. He gives you shooting and he gives you size. He's 6'9". Anthony Simons, who's an awesome guard. Then you got your draft pick. Talk about luck just piling on for the Sixers. LeBaron Fallon Jr. or Philon, I'm sorry, I forgot how you pronounce his name. He falls to you. This is a guy that a lot of people had pegged as a lottery pick. He falls to the Sixers in the 20s. He's coming off the bench for you, and he's going to play some minutes. Anyone else? Oh, and I don't know who Adam Bona is. He's the backup center. Can you enlighten us on that?
No, I read today, actually, that they feel okay. They know that they need something behind Embiid, so there is confidence in Philly. They don't have anyone there that's just a placeholder because they understand there's real minutes involved there, right? You can't have somebody behind Embiid, so they do believe in that, at least enough. We're talking, 25 games here that you're going to know that you're going to be without Embiid. Obviously, they're not putting massive dollars into that, but the money that LeBron saves them allows them, Cyrus, to have the depth that you're talking about. Right. With LeBron James cost you $4 million a season, that changes the math considerably. We know the commitment to Embiid. We know the commitment, obviously, to Maxey and then the Jaylen Brown trade. That money's there, but Paul George out for some of that. This is Bob Myers at his best. This is clearly Bob Myers at his best. What he's doing with the numbers here, this is not a team that has busted, right? They didn't bust the bank here. They're doing what every team does, right? Playing by those margins, first apron, second apron. I'm not going to get into all that, but they've done it right. And obviously getting LeBron for him to agree for the 2 seasons at $8 million, that helps.
It's you have a great team, dude. My issue is defense because Joel Embiid, I think he's a good defender, but health is an issue, right? And I don't know if he can stand toe-to-toe with a Wemby in the NBA Finals when Wemby's stretching the floor.
I'd like to see, look, I love that idea because Embiid so often walks on the court knowing that from an athletic standpoint, he's the alpha. I'm really fascinated to see, especially when New York really dominated him in that, right? So he's already got to feel like, well, shit, that wasn't even Wemby, right? I mean, that was that Knicks team. It's not like the Knicks team from a physicality standpoint was supposed to, but none of that was competitive in any way. So
they got swept. Yeah, it was a sweep. Justifiably.
It was ugly. It was ugly. So and game 2 was probably the close. They had a chance to even that series up, and once they didn't, it was done.
But again, you had a Joel Embiid who was battered at that point, right? Like he always is.
Yes.
And this is going to be a huge question mark for them this coming season. But you also did not have Jaylen Brown or LeBron James. This is going to be so different. But when you look at it defensively, I mean, Jaylen Brown's a good defender. Yeah. Is Tyrese Maxey a good defender?
No, he's really okay. I mean,
let me ask you this. Okay, let me ask you this. Do you trust Philly's defense? You would know better than me. Do you trust their defense? I'll let you finish.
Unfortunately, Cyrus, again, what I can't get out of my mind, it's there's been a lot of second round defeats, and some of them have been by better teams. And obviously the year that Toronto won it all, that's a better team. And the Knicks won it all this year, but I didn't think they were a better team coming into it. It's the year they lost to the Hawks. They're up in that series. They're hosting Game 7, and they find a way to lose that series. To think about this, I mean, a name that just doesn't matter in the NBA anymore, Trae Young. I mean, Trae Young, that was largely like that helped build Trae Young into who he was him beating the Sixers that
and
season.
John Collins was looking like a superhuman that series. You're right.
I can't get out of my mind. That's a series where you're not good enough defensively. They had Ben Simmons then, and I understand. And Ben Simmons got a lot of crap for something he didn't do offensively. He absolutely passed up on a layup in Game 7. There's a lot to that, but I hated so much of what I saw there.
Yeah.
I will simply put a pin in it by saying this, Cyrus. Jaylen Brown has a chance for this team to be elite defensively. There is that chance. And because of what's happening offensively, because a lot of people say, well, you're rolling one ball out for this team and you've got Edgecombe and Maxey and LeBron and Jaylen Brown to feed. All of that, right? You got to get Embiid, Edgecombe, Maxey, Brown and LeBron the ball offensively. So maybe because of that, now for one of those guys, and the one who's most poised to do it is Brown, maybe if it's not as much about the offensive side for you, you can be the difference defensively because we're going to have enough scoring. So Nick Nurse had one of the best two-way players of all time in his best season to win a title, right? I mean, look, what he did with Kawhi, is this the opportunity for Nick Nurse? Because Nick Nurse hasn't done shit here either. Doc Rivers didn't do shit with this team, and Nick Nurse to this point hasn't done shit with this team. No one's impressed with where Philly's gone. Here's the opportunity. Nick Nurse did it when no one was expecting it with Kawhi. Now everyone's expecting it. I've seen Nick Nurse do a lot. That team was impressive defensively, the team that won it all with Toronto. He can do that. He got it out of Kawhi. The best anyone's ever gotten out of Kawhi, we can all admit, was Nick Nurse.
Yeah.
Is he going to do that with Jaylen Brown?
I mean, you could argue Pop did pretty good too with that.
Not bad.
But I hear what you're saying. Kawhi by that point was like an everything player with the Spurs. It was a role.
Yes.
He won Finals MVP. Again, still damn impressive. But
it
is crazy. Kawhi has two of those, two Finals MVPs. And he's with Toronto now. Well, not officially yet, but he's about to be there. Before we go into the danger zone, one last Steve Kerr thing that I want you to be aware of for
and maybe Steve Fisher. I was going to say Steve Fisher got a lot out of him also. Kawhi defensively. Steve Fisher, San Diego State.
Yes,
I go back all the way, back all the way with Kawhi.
Former Michigan coach. You're absolutely
Michigan.
Right.
Well, he had Fab Four. Steve Fisher was Fab.
Four.
Yeah, Fab Five. He was Fab Five, and then he was Kawhi's coach.
Fab Four, Fab Five. Yeah,
whatever.
Yeah. Steve Kerr also was a huge reason why the Warriors did not draft Anthony Edwards. So add that to the list of me just kind of having enough of the Steve Kerr experience.
Yes.
A few things in the chat, and if you're unaware of that story, we've talked about it extensively. Steve Kerr saw Anthony Edwards workout, called him lazy, did not think he had the proper work ethic. Loved James Wiseman. Everyone loves to point the finger at Lacob for desiring Wiseman, pointing the finger at Myers. Steve Kerr visited James Wiseman 8 times during that COVID offseason to get to know James Wiseman, fell in love with him. And then 2 years later was like, no, we're good. Few things in the chat here. And then we'll go to the danger zone. Jason Lewis writing, Steph is being wasted. He needs to speak up. Jason, I'm sorry to break your heart here. Steph has spoken up. This is what he wants. This is why. Now, look, the good news is he's going to retire a Golden State Warrior. He's a lifer. I love that. Unfortunately, he wants, Steve Kerr, and he wants old people, and he wants comfort, and he's earned it. If anyone's earned it, if there's one person I will never criticize, it's Steph. His coach, I have some reservations. Desirio in her chat, another example of someone who puts a lot of weight on. That's not the comment I wanted to put down. There was another quote from Desirio. He's one of our audience members who loves Kerr, who thinks Brandon Pajemski is a special talent.
Wow,
that's a laugh. And he also
that.
writes Jaylen Brown overrated because he's one of these guys that thinks individual net rating is a real stat. Sam, your thoughts on Jaylen Brown being overrated?
Well, we're about to find out. We're about to find out. I mean, what Jaylen Brown already did last season, I understand the Game 7 loss to Philly has a bad taste in everyone's mouth, but dragging that team to the threshold they did, to the 50 wins, the way that they did the 2 seed, right? Were they the 2 seed in the East? I mean, that was impressive what happened last season. I'm sorry. He's about, I don't think you're never going to be able to take that away from him because that was without Tatum. And now in Philly, he's going to get a lot. Look, there's going to be pressure. The LeBron thing adds another layer to it. There's going to be pressure to what Philly can do. I just want to remind everyone again, Philly has never seen the Eastern Conference Final. So if Brown gets this team to the Eastern Conference Final, and then they lose. Either they lose the Eastern Conference Final, they've done something they hadn't done since 2001. Embiid's been an MVP, and they haven't been to the Eastern Conference Final.
Are you lowering the bar of expectation so that you don't get disappointed? Part of the championship.
Look, part of that has to be, as a sports fan, we have to develop a callus. And we're not little kids anymore, Cyrus. I can't dream that every season is going to be a championship, right? I understand that you and I live in an era with Chiefs, Patriots, and Warriors. We've seen dynasties, but I also have to be smart enough to understand that for my team, like for all of us, to just say going into a season, is my team about to become a dynasty? Like, that's so far-fetched. I don't want to think that. Now, is it possible that they could win it all? It's possible. I still would say OKC and San Antonio.
Possible, yes.
I would still say OKC and San Antonio would be favored against Philly in the final right now.
That's also fair.
So even if you want to take the East out of it, I'm not giving them the East, but I'm just going to tell you that a team that had Jimmy Butler, Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, and Tobias Harris lost in the second round. And that still, to me, is the best lineup Philly has had. This one on paper looks great, but I'm going to have to see it, Cyrus. I'm going to have to see it.
I'm excited.
Jason Tatum, to me, Jason Tatum still owns this team. There's something about that Danny Ainge trade. There's something about Markelle Fultz watching from wherever the hell he is. I think he's, by the way, I think he plays in the G League for Toronto. I think that's where Markelle Fultz is, honestly. I swear to God. Yes. So something about that will always haunt me. And until I see it, I need to see. I remember the years when Embiid was dominating. I remember I used to tweet out, oh, good news, everybody in Philly. The Sixers are the best team in the East if you take out Milwaukee and Boston. Luckily, they shouldn't get in their way, right? They won't have to see Milwaukee or Boston anywhere, right, on their way to getting to the NBA Finals. Are you fucking kidding me? That's like talking about a team in the West right now and saying they're only, don't worry, the only teams they're not better than are the Thunder and the Spurs. But I can see a path to the NBA Finals. What are you fucking kidding me? So I'm going to have to see it. All right. I'm going to have to see it. I love it.
All right. Without further ado, let's go into the danger zone. This is Sam popping his cherry. Shooty Smokehouse, who's going to be a future sponsor of this show, dropping $2 saying Chardal the GOAT. Chardal got called the GOAT. Look at this. Shooty singing high praise. And without further ado, let's go into it. He's even got an open, Sam. This is we're going into the danger zone. Hope you're ready. It's dangerous.
I'm a stay-at-home son.
Oh, it's dangerous. Chardal, I gotta update that because you changed the name of your YouTube channel, correct?
I changed my name of my YouTube channel.
Oh,
so it's gotta be so. Sam, Chardal, say hello to Sam Betesh, one of my oldest friends.
Hey, what's up, Sam? I'm a big fan of you. I love your honest takes, bro. You're one of the smartest people on the show. You bring it. You bring it every single day. You bring it, bro. Like
look at that praise.
I can't compete. If I compete against Sam, I'll lose.
Chardal,
look at that. Chardal comes in with bravado usually.
If I try and go up against you any day, I'm gonna lose. You're gonna take me down hands on every day.
Sam, Chardal does not act in deference like this typically. Normally he's coming in with bluster, with moxie. Today he's like just giving respect. Look at this.
Chardal, thank you for that.
Like you're the greatest.
I don't want you to lose the luster, Chardal. You come in and you do your thing. I'm here at this point. It's your inning, right? I may be the setup guy, but I was here for the 8th. You're here for the 9th. This is your inning, man. I'm sure.
I love watching you on the Damon Bruce show. You and Damon just hit. I love watching you. You two do a great job on his show.
Chardal,
I watch you on Damon Bruce's show, man.
Chardal, I'm gonna fix your open to reflect your new YouTube channel. But we gotta play it again because I forgot to include the music. So one more time, let's go back into the danger zone.
Stay-at-home son.
Now we got the club music. By the way, Sam, Chardal, one of the many envious things about him that I respect, a stay-at-home son. Like he's milking this thing for all it's worth. Like he's living LIVIN. I impressed.
49%, I thought you said, right, Cyrus?
Yes, yes. Okay, but Chardal was a pieneer. Okay. Chardal was a stay-at-home son back when it was probably like 15%.
Sam, I'm having the greatest days of my life, bro. We just signed we just re-signed Draymond Green, and Macklin Cellerine just signed a freaking 5-year, $94 million contract, bro. He's staying in San Jose for 5 years, bro. He's never leaving this place, man.
He's a hockey guy. Chardal's a hockey guy.
I love Macklin Celebrini, man. He's staying in San Jose for 5 years, bro. That guy's never leaving San Jose. There's no way that guy's leaving. Like Steph Curry's never leaving the Warriors.
I believe in Macklin also, Chardal. And if you remember, before the Olympics started, I had actually said, watch out for Team Canada because Macklin Celebrini is going to be a difference. He nearly led that tournament in scoring. Macklin Celebrini is a stud. The Sharks are going to make the playoffs this year. They had 2 draft picks within the top 10 this season. Watch out for your San Jose Sharks. Sharks on the power play. I do. I love it. I love it, Chardal.
By the way, we have someone in the chat who goes by Nicholas Kerr. He always comes close to he's got to be couple times, you son of a bitch. But I forgot to play this clip, and Nicholas Kerr reminded me of this right now. There is not one, but two AI clips. And again, this is not an AI-friendly show. But when you're making content like this, we got to it's got to be acknowledged. So this is an AI clip that is trying to capture what is going on with the Golden State Warriors. Shardal, I don't know if you've seen this yet.
Sam,
but
you know what I love about you? Fire me up every single day, bro.
Here is thank you, Shardal. You fire all of us up.
You light a fire under my ass.
I think that's a good thing. Here is an AI clip of what went down. This is a reimagining of Stephen Curry in Steve Kerr's office with Draymond Green sitting there, not happy about the offseason. This does not reflect reality, but it's funny as F.
You fucking idiot. You promised me LeBum and you give me another year with this goddamn donkey. I have carried your entire fucking coaching career. I'm better off going to the Spurs with that tall motherfucker. Also, why did you name your son Nick, you goddamn weirdo?
Ooh, Shardal, what'd you think about that?
Man, Steph Curry, you fired the gun at Steve Kerr.
Sammy, any reaction?
Stephen Curry's fucking pissed off with Steve Kerr.
Shardal, have you ever seen Steph so upset in your life? I don't think any of us will ever see that.
Stephen Curry wants to punch Steve Kerr in the mouth.
Oh my God. Sam,
that's an incredible clip.
Shardal's living the life, right? He's got the stay-at-home son thing going.
And he's like a Bay Area radio legend. Shardal is, right? I mean, yes. Shardal is known all over the place, from KVR to the game.
The only team that is getting me fucking pissed off right now is the Giants. Fuck the Giants, man.
What'd you think about the Devers trade, Shardal? At the time, I thought it was going to make a major difference.
Let's get rid of that fucking asshole Devers, man. When we got that guy in this fucking league, that guy was a piece of shit. That guy was.
He doesn't swear this much usually, so he's fired up. Shardal, you're fired
up. Yeah, Devers is a piece of shit. I fucking hate that guy. Do not buy his fucking jersey. You buy his fucking jersey, I'm not going to a fucking Giants game ever. You buy that guy's fucking jersey. Devers
just crushed my Angels this weekend, by the way.
He did. No, that guy's a fucker. That guy's a fucking bitch.
Well, you might as well just drop it, eat shit, and die, Devers, right, Shardal?
I want to kick him in the ass.
Sam, I love you, brother. Thanks for doing this.
Sam, this is the reason why it's a danger zone. Never know what I might say on the danger zone. I might curse on the danger zone. That's why you got to be. That's why I warn people when you come in here. I might just do some. See, I'm warning all you people, man. This is an. I can make this an R-rated show. Don't.
You already have. We're good. You're good.
We lost PG-13 a long time ago, Shardal. You've crushed this.
Shardal, tell Sam one of the many amazing things about your life, besides going to games all the time, like your official day job is working at Great America, which is going to close after this season. Shardal actually does work. I'm guessing his parents make him do a little work.
I work in the games department.
In the games department. But Shardal, you also attend weekly dance lessons with these hot little ballerinas. Tell Sam about that.
I attend salsa ballroom dance lesson with these sexy mamacitas.
Like Ben Stiller in Along Came Polly. Wow, that's great.
Yes. And Shardal, like he says the dancers let him like grind on them, and they indulge him and just getting closer maybe than he should. It's impressive, Shardal. You live a life. I
live the life. I'm a stay-at-home son.
Shardal, do we follow you on social media? Like, I feel like there's so much more to get out of this.
So I was at 541 subscribers on my YouTube channel. Three people effing unsubscribed. Now I'm at 538.
Sons of bitches.
Well, the whole thing, I would say, okay, so I'll put it in. I'll put it in here, Shardal. Let's like and subscribe. I'm at SamboniShow, so I appreciate that. Like and subscribe to me. But then Shardal, what's your page now? What's it called?
Hey, the Apex Sports Network.
That's a new thing. I'm actually looking it up right now.
Hey viewers, make sure to subscribe to Sai's show in reference to the 1993 Matthew McConaughey movie. Make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, the Apex Sports Network.
You didn't say the name of the movie. You didn't say the name of the movie. You just said the 1993.
Make sure to subscribe to Sai in reference to the 1993 Matthew McConaughey movie, Dazed and Confused. Also subscribe to my YouTube channel, the Apex Sports Network. And subscribe to the Sam Boner Show.
Yes.
Adam Bona.
Sam Boner.
No, Sam Boner show.
Sam Boner.
Sam Boner.
Okay.
Adam Bona. Sixers reference.
Adam Bona, the backup center.
Adam Boner.
Chardol, you did great, buddy. Good job.
Can I be the co-host? I passed the tryouts.
I didn't know this was a tryout, but you did well.
Can I become a co-host? This was a tryout.
Chardol, I've said this before and I'll say it again. You're so good at the closer role. I don't want to mess with a good thing. So
can I make a suggestion here?
Let me make a joke about in reference to Adam Bona. Adam Boner. Whenever Adam Bona steps into a room, he gets a boner.
I have a suggestion. I feel okay. So Chardol, closer role is very good. I also think he could be your pitching coach, Cyrus. And here's what I mean. Chardol, if you had a list of topics, let's say that you wanted to get through in a show, you could have Chardol play a role where you actually kind of tap him on the shoulder and tell him to come out to the mound and have a chat with you. Like Chardol could transition you between topics. Chardol could come out and be like, Cyrus, right? We spent 18 minutes on Draymond. We still want to get to the LeBron defense in Philly. Like, let's move it along. I think Chardol could do that. Like, that could be a warm-up, a precursor to the co-hosting, where he could just come in and sort of move you from topic to topic. You don't have to say a lot in between.
I really love it. You're keeping me on the show for a long time because I'm special member of this of Golden Days, right?
You're a closer.
So I'm special.
Chardol, you should when Sam hosts his show on the Samboni,
roles and
Samboni. You should make appearances on his show too.
Can I come on your show?
Chardol, you're welcome in these comments anytime, and we're gonna find a way to get you on. All right, we're gonna make it happen.
I would love to come on your show. That would be an honor.
Love it,
Chardol, love you.
Hey,
I'm gonna say bye to Sam now. Okay.
So the Warriors have 3 preseason games. They're gonna be playing the Lakers, the Clippers, and are they playing the Trailblazers?
Sure.
But
Chardol, we love you.
But yeah, I'm a big fan of you. I'm a big fan of your show.
Big fan of your show.
The Warriors have 3 preseason games. I'm gonna be watching all 3 of those games. They're gonna all be taking place at Chase Center. I love the preseason, man. Like preseasons is great for these young players to go out there and try their best and improve themselves. Make sure they're ready for the regular season.
Remember, Chardol, Summer League champs here.
Yaxel. Chardol, you love Yaxel, right?
I love Yaxel.
I love him too.
Let me say one more thing before I leave.
Of course. That was titillating. That was absolutely riveting content.
Nice mic drop there. Yeah.
That's Chardol for you, dude. Sometimes he'll leave you hanging like that, wanting more.
Any good closer will do that. That's a great closer, right? The argument on the greatest closers in the game are could they be a starter, right? And so Chardol leaves you with that. He closes the game out well, and then you're wondering, wow, could we have even done more there? Yeah, I like that.
Sammy, people can follow you on Twitter at Sammy Betesh.
Yes,
they can. They should subscribe to your YouTube channel. Let's do that visually before you go. It's called Samboni.
At SamboniShow. Here, I'll just put it up in the comments. You can just put it up there. Look here. I'll write in the comments right now, and I think I spelled it right without my glasses. That should say like and subscribe.
All right. So your SEO is not. Did you just change the name?
At SamboniShow. Yeah. It changed a little while ago, but yeah, at SamboniShow changed about maybe only 2 weeks ago. But at SamboniShow.
Well, because when I Google SamboniShow, it doesn't come up. So there it is. Okay. So, but the fact that it's very new, that's why.
Exactly. Yes.
I want everyone to see it so we can encourage people to. Is it showing right now? No,
here it is. That's it. Yes, that's it. And you can see there the little Samboni down there. Yep. There you go. At SamboniShow.
What is this thing at the top? What's going on here?
That used to be that was. So Andrew and I had the podcast. It's a football with a microphone. So it was a lot of I was doing back then. We were doing a lot of football content.
That makes
sense.
So okay.
Yeah. And so I'll get a puck up there.
Oh, we got to boost this up, dude. That's a joke.
Oh, we did. Of course we do. Let's go. Let's at least get me to 300. Let's go.
Easily. Well, you got to get to 500 so we can start monetizing, dude.
Yes.
So, folks, Samboni. It's Samboni. Chardol almost got it. He says Samboner. I do like that. But Samboni. Samboni, and it's at SamboniShow. Folks, subscribe. You got a lot of great content there.
There's a ton. The best. You'll enjoy. By the way, it's me and the piece right there with JT is me and Jim Rome and JT and John Gruden. It's a great one. You should check that out. We got a great piece on Shohei. There's a clip on there with 10,000 views. I'm proud of that one with me and Siciliano talking about Shohei, the day that he broke the record in Miami. There's a lot on there. There's Cyrus and I. There's me and Damon. Go to the live section too. So you'll see a ton of stuff down there. That's all the live stuff with Damon and Kruger, and obviously it starts on their pages, but it ends up here as well. But all of that gets aggregated back to here as well. And so please check all those out.
How is our boy Andrew Siciliano doing? What's he?
He's great.
First of all, he was calling the Browns.
He is. He's the Browns.
He's still doing that?
He is the official play-by-play voice of Browns radio. He is the Browns play-by-play. There are 32 jobs in the world of people that get to call play-by-play in the NFL on the radio, and he's one of them. It's awesome.
And that job went from being arguably the worst in the NFL. A year from now might be one of the best because they're going to be angling for that top pick to get that QB next year. Correct?
It's going to be amazing. Yeah. This is going to be Andrew's got a great job. Not to mention he grew up. He's a Browns fan. Andrew, this is a dream job. This is a total dream job.
People grow up as Browns fans.
That's amazing. And his dad's from DC, kind of like me being in LA. My dad's from Philly, and that Andrew was born in DC, but his dad was a Cleveland fan, so he's a huge Indians fan. He's a Cavs fan too, and a humongous Browns fan. So it's great.
I love it. Sam, love you. Are we done? Are we good?
I think so. We're good. We've said it all.
2 hours. We were not planning on that. Tell your wife and your son thank you for the time you gave us. I really do appreciate that. I haven't met her yet. Long overdue.
Allie, I know that we talked about it. Yeah, you weren't at my Zoom wedding, but nobody was. So it's it's
your Zoom wedding.
Yeah, my
was the minister also on Zoom? Like
my fake COVID wedding. Yeah.
Oh, dude, you've got this like the most adorable kid ever, Levi.
Levi's pretty cute.
You won the lottery there, brother. Congratulations.
Yeah,
we can't see it. We can't see it with. Oh, there it is.
So.
Oh my God! And you're showing the wife as well. Yeah,
there's Allie and Levi right there.
Sam, you won in life, brother. Congratulations.
This is a good one. There's a great clip on Instagram of Levi kind of hosting one of these shows. It's worth your time.
I've seen all that stuff. Yeah. People can follow you on Instagram at Sam Betesh.
At Sam Betesh.
Take out the me. Take out the MY. It's just Sam Betesh.
At Sam
Twitter,
Betesh.
That's Sammy Betesh. Love you. Great fucking show, man. I don't swear much. I'm sorry for that bomb there, but that's how
God all got us going. It's okay.
Have a great day, everybody. Back soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.